Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the REMINGTOM podcast. We are live, a little bit of a different setup. We're just mixing things up, like we said, 2025. Hopefully we continue to, maybe make some interesting moves. We'll see what happens. But, feels a little weird. We moved to the couch. Same area, same place. The OG spot was just a couple feet over there. And who knows, maybe in halftime we'll just run right back. It feels so much more comfortable at home. But ideally, this would be more comfortable. The couch, the setup, feels cozy, feels at home. Like we said, when we were starting to do watch parties and when we were starting to do the idea of following along with some of these live sporting events, I did not anticipate that just in the first year that we would be doing this, it would just immediately be Ohio State in the national championship game. But, here we are, people. The 12-team playoffs, once again. I think the main reason for this setup is honestly just to make sure that the Michigan hoodie gets displayed loud and clear, because this is going to be a terrible thing, people, to get to watch this live. Shout out to Notre Dame. Shout out to Marcus Freeman. Make no mistake, people. The turnaround is great. And, to have Notre Dame back in the spot after, has it actually been a decade since they've been in the national championship game? Was it 2014? That Alabama obviously was the last time they played in it, right? But was that all the way back in 2014, the Brian Kelly days? Shout out. But, of course, Marcus Freeman's got the group riled up. But, what are they right now? They're more than a touchdown favorite? I don't know what they are in the actual books, but I think at work, right, at the sports book at the restaurant, they are more than a touchdown favorites. I think the line moved from 7 to 8 points over the course of a lunch shift. But I don't know officially what does ESPN say for the 8.5? Wow, so maybe we should have taken that 8-point spread at the restaurant sportsbook. That just sneak in a half a point, win a bit of bargain. Oh, it did open at Ohio State 9.5. Okay, so it has moved in favor of Notre Dame a little bit. And we don't want to see Notre Dame lose by double digits. We want just for our own entertainment sake, we want to see a good national championship game as well. But, similarly to the last time that Notre Dame was here, it feels like it is kind of the expectations are the same for the team. And I don't know what the spread was. Can we actually find out? Let me see if I can go back and if the box score here, the old box score, has the old line on it. Did they even allow the people to put the lines on the box scores back in 2014? FanDuel wasn't even around yet. What year was FanDuel founded? No, we're probably going to look it up. FanDuel's going to be one of those things that was founded in 1944. It's like an underground sports horse betting ring type ordeal. And then they've just managed to survive all these years. It's like some of those alcohol companies that it's we had stills and we were moonshining all the way through Prohibition. It's crazy that some people, I feel like, I guess, do we want to call out some brands? I don't know. Shout out Shane Gillis. I guess that's how you get an alcohol sponsorship. And make no mistake, with Ohio State about to win the national championship, we could definitely use one. I guess Notre Dame, he's probably going to use his up to tonight as well. Oh man, Ryan Day on the sidelines looking confident. You hate to see it, people. This is disgusting. This is gross. I don't know. Is this going to be the first time we ever just rage quit on a game? Hopefully not. Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, we want to give them a chance. Did Drake just jinx them with the diss? Naming the diss track after the Fighting Irish? I know it was after the St. Vincent's. It was after maybe a different Fighting Irish, but still, the fact that there's overlap. We know once Drake gets involved in your sporting teams, you're basically screwed at that point. IT, can we see if Drake bet on Ohio State? Hopefully Drake bet on Ohio State. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm actually rooting for Notre Dame like this. Again, as a Michigan fan, I've made this case before. Michigan State's probably the legacy number 2 rivalry, but it could be Notre Dame. It depends on the day, When Michigan State's good, then it's we got to take care of Michigan State. But over the course of the college football history, Notre Dame has just, of course, been the more legacy player. Shout out, celebrating MLK Day. of course. Did anybody have any big MLK Day plans? How come we don't like go all out for MLK Day like we do other holidays? I feel like we need to at least have one good national holiday a month, right? Where we can just we don't have to work. And then but I mean one at least once a month where we have to like kind of plan some food, cuz let's be honest, chat. Again, time off from work is not bad, but I mean also, by the time we get to most holidays, it's like actually I wouldn't mind a shift to stay away from some, it's okay. Take me away for a couple hours, but I mean, the main reason we celebrate holidays, obviously, there's main reasons like shout out, like Christmas and Easter and all that stuff, but in terms of the actual, I guess, celebrations of the holiday, it's the food. The main thing's the food, and I mean, of course, you go really heavy in Thanksgiving, Christmas, but once you get out of that, once you get into the new year. Again, you've got like, I guess technically you've got like a Valentine's Day as a holiday. It's not a food holiday though. It's a go out to eat holiday, but it's a different type of, different type of eat chat. But, again, a different type of experience and it's usually like, maybe two people. I don't know. Do you guys do group Valentine dinners? I guess, I don't know. That's obviously more of a girl thing than it is a guy thing, but. Like a group couples Valentine's thing. I guess we've been part of churches and stuff that have done that before. So maybe in that, that kind of way. But outside of that, chat, like, you go all the way from what? Christmas to Easter, where you get a big break in the food holidays. So we need to be able to like take MLK Day off and the problem is, it's like winter in the Midwest, you're going to be living it on like the grilling and stuff as well too. But again, Christmas and Thanksgiving, it's not necessarily like a 4th of July type spread, you're not necessarily getting out the charcoal for a thing. Some people are, of course. The turkey, I think, again, as a person that has historically gone to a white family's turkey Thanksgiving dinner, make no mistake, there's never going to be charcoal involved in that situation. Just there's never going to be anything. Maybe some butter is going to be the most kind of spicy we get with the turkey. But other than that, chat, I mean, there's going to be no sort of spicing it up or making the steps interesting. Okay, here we go. We're kicking off. At least Notre Dame gets to start with the football, chat. At least they have a chance to give us some hope. Riley Leonard looking a little like Brock Purdy in the photo shoot graphic that they've got up. Of course, undefeated, they're saying, since the loss to Northern Illinois. And that's crazy as well, too, the loss to Northern Illinois. I mean, Ohio State and Ryan Day are getting all this crap for losing to Michigan at the end of the year. And, yeah, Michigan might not have been the best team this year, but that's still the best rivalry. And, it's not even all of college football. It's the best rivalry in all of sports. It's the most intense, most anticipated, most heated. Now we're, Now it sounds like, again, we're talking about Valentine's Day. But, it's the most crazy rivalry in all of sports. In right away first play, chat. I mean, nothing doing for the Notre Dame run game, which is going to literally be the strength of their offense. Again, shout out to Riley Leonard. If he just has the game of his life from a passing standpoint, then, make no mistake, we've said our prayers that it would happen. And Notre Dame, I mean, the Catholic Church... Hopefully they've said their prayers. Chat. Again, we know Shane Gillis has been saying his prayers. Hopefully God's still listening to the Catholic Church at this point, chat. In 2025, we'll have to see what happens in this game. Riley Leonard up the middle. Maybe he is, chat. Maybe he is. 3rd down. Oh, Jack Sawyer. Man, wrecked the last game, of course. Just incredible down the stretch. Ohio State always has one of those edge guys just hanging around. And it was kind of supposed to be JTT. I guess, at least for me anyways, that was the guy I was most anticipating high-level play from the defensive line standpoint this year. But, of course, Sawyer has been, at least as of late, the most dominant guy. And Leonard up the middle again for a 1st down, chat. So the running back, of course, that play didn't work early, but at least the quarterback run game is working earlier. So it's like just early on, the run game element to at least loosen it up for the pass game pause, because again, that's going to be the element that is going to be potentially hit or miss. So if you shut down the run game as well, it's like, yeah, we shut down the strength of our offense. We also shut down the ability to go to all of the counters out of that and to open up the playbook for Riley Leonard. So at least if he's running the ball himself, then maybe, the defense is shifting around. But let's be honest, Chad, Ohio State's not going to outplay, or Notre Dame's not going to outplay Ohio State, right? I mean, Ohio State is the better team. We can go through the roster. We can go through, do we want to do a little guy-for-guy comparison? Maybe that's a new segment we'll do on the new casting couch, the casting couch setup. We'll do a little guy-for-guy. Oh, and this is going to be a problem as well, too, chat. Multiple people logging into the accounts. Subscribe, chat, so we can get our mom her own account. And then we don't have to keep kicking her out during the national championship game. But I don't know, chat. Maybe we'll tap in some other ways. Pause. See if we can find a stream somewhere else. But, oh, now all of a sudden, 3rd and long. Jeez. Let's get back to full screen. Okay. But yeah, if we want to do a little guy-for-guy comparison with Ohio State, Notre Dame's not going to play a better, cleaner game where we walk away and go, oh, was Notre Dame actually maybe the better team all year? Maybe it happens. That's not what we're expecting. That's not even just right away what it looks like would potentially happen. But getting the ball first, that might actually be an advantage. We always like the idea of getting the ability to be able to score on the 2 possessions in a row, end of the first half, beginning of the second half. But again, just the ability to go chat. This is going to be a problem. Just the ability to go out and set the pace early. When again, Notre Dame can't be playing from behind. Pause. They can't be down 7-0 right away. I guess, were we not paying attention to the coin toss? I didn't see if they won the coin toss or not. Maybe that should have been the first sign that there's blessings. Coins in the Catholic Church, they definitely do go together. But 3rd and 1. Caleb Downs. I guess, the secondary for Notre Dame, of course, Benjamin Morrison is out. But you could say Watts versus Caleb Downs, is that maybe like the one closest? The running backs, of course. And again, the running game from the running backs just swamped. This time they go to the edge. Of course, that opening play was in the interior of the line. Crazy, chat. And make no mistake, this is going to be, I know we promised that we were going to get Michigan confetti, but IT didn't pull through with that. But what we do have is we will go through eventually a list of our top 10 most hated Ohio State athletes, because make no mistake, this is just not going to be fun to watch. Ohio State winning a national championship game, so we will vent. And it's been good for Michigan football as of late. Of course, they've won the rivalry. Michigan's just won the national championship last year. I mean, we can't necessarily complain. We are still in that window of, again, just winning the national title recently. But we haven't avenged quite the recent, what Ohio State was doing recently in this 21st century. Because you could even look at that and go, Ohio State's like, they're catching up from their end of the series. Because again, you go back into the 30s and 40s, chat, the turn of the century, 1902, when Michigan won, I think, like they won 4 of the first 5 national titles at the turn of the century, chat. I mean, you got to give them credit for that. Football, it was one-dimensional. I mean, is that even more impressive, chat, the fact that teams knew what you were going to do and you just had to line up, go out there, just be the better team? It's like, it was obvious then that Michigan, that's the most obvious it's ever been that a team has ever been the national title is in 1903. The 1903 Michigan and 1904 Michigan team is just the most obvious, most clear national title that we've had in all of college football. And again, Michigan dominated this rivalry for a long time. So Ohio State was playing catch up there when they won what was it? They won 19 to 20 games just up until Harbaugh was able to, and Sharon Moore shout out, have been able to get a win streak going here. But again, it's just that doesn't count for people like us, chat. For our generation, again, we respect the Michigan history. We love that we love that the Michigan team has that. We love that the team that we get to root for has that history, laugh all you want about the titles in 1902, but somebody had to win the title in 1902. Guess what? I don't want it to be Alabama. I'd rather it be Michigan. Rather it be the team I'd root for. I don't want Ohio State win the national title in 1903, 04, any year. I want to look back in history and go, oh yeah, look at that. The team we cheer for won the national title every season. That would be sick. But unfortunately this year, Chad, I just might have to watch Ohio State do it. Pause. But they were just, again, catching up from Michigan. Really, I honestly, I don't even know how it became the greatest rivalry, chat. Because Michigan was just so dominant there up until the Jim Trussell years. Spoiler alert, shout out Jim Trussell, not on the list of top 10 most hated most hated Ohio State athletes by Michigan people. At least for me, anyways. And I was definitely going through, again, the restaurant being open on MLK Day was not necessarily going to be the busiest day. Again, it's a holiday, and it's more the location of the restaurant. The restaurant, near businesses, a lot of them shut down for the day. A lot of that traffic is, of course, not going to be there. But it did present us the opportunity to make this list. So I hope the manager didn't walk over at some point and go, why is Rem just have a sheet of paper with just names of, why is just Jim Trussell on this sheet of paper? Again, he might be is he on the big board? But he didn't make the list because Jim Trussell, I don't mind Jim Trussell. Of course, the 30 for 30, you get a backstory, you get a documentary, you start humanizing people. I'm sure if we shook hands with anybody on this list, then I don't know, Chad. Ohio State, would we shake hands with anybody from Ohio State? Maybe that's the first problem. We'd have to stand our ground. But again, he was getting games vacated from Ohio State. Yes, he was dominant against Michigan, but at the end of the day, do those games even count, chat? I mean, if you're giving your players free tattoos, should you even be considering, should their wins even go down in the record books? I don't know. It seems pretty egregious. I mean, look at Ohio State now. Look at Jack Sawyer. If Jack Sawyer was under Jim Trussell, he'd show up with a J.J. Redick arm sleeve in his senior season. Oh, Riley Leonard falling down on 3rd and 3. The Daniel Jones comps, they just continue to check boxes, chat. Struggles with accuracy, falls down on run plays. It's quite the scouting list for Riley Leonard. I think he gets good grades though. He went to Duke, transferred to Notre Dame. So, that's what they're looking for, I guess. 4th and 1, they're going to go for it. The analytics say yes. Herb Street pointing out the fact that it's been a good pause, a long drive. Leonard up the middle. Oh, he got it, Chad. Thank goodness. He keeps powering forward. Is that? Oh, did I mute the mic? Testing. Are we back in? Testing 1 2. Hello. Okay, I think we're back in. I don't know, Chad. See, I don't know if I have that kind of confidence in my team. I would have had the same issue last night in the Bills-Ravens game. At the end of the game, the Bills inside the 10-yard line, up 4 points. Have to make it, or I guess they were up 5 points because they went up 8 on the field goal. And that made it a lot easier of a decision as well, too. And Riley Leonard easily walks in for the touchdown. There we go, chat. Oh, we're Irish fans tonight, baby. Do the Irish have like a little thing that? Do they have like a tomahawk chop that they do? Do they have like a little leprechaun dance they bust out when they score touchdowns? What's it like being an Irish fan? I don't like. I don't necessarily. I'm not necessarily having a great time, but I do love rooting against Ohio State. Make no mistake. You can sign me up. And it pays off as well too, that 4th and 1 decision. But like I said, had a chance. The Bills had a chance to go up 8 and on the field goal, or really put the game away on a touchdown and kind of make it almost impossible for the Ravens to make a comeback there. I mean, what would have happened if they had scored a touchdown, right? They would have gone to the 99% on the win probability. And I mean, once you do that, chat, then I don't know if that guarantees a victory, but I mean, it's not like we've ever seen anybody make a comeback on the 99% win probability. So, you definitely feel really good about your chances. But again, shout out to the champ Quinn, because we were watching the game together. And he was definitely a lot more confident in the field goal decision than I was initially. And I was definitely more leaning toward the field goal decision. But again, the idea of and it's also the fact that the Bills had Josh Allen as well, too. I think that's definitely part of it. And you know what? Maybe looking at the other side as well, too. Like if the Ravens were in the lead at that point with Lamar, if his game is looking kind of similar to the way it is in the game that he had played, even in the loss, like if there's the running game is better, Henry's awesome, and there's a formula where they're able to have the lead at that standpoint. Like maybe if you're the Ravens, maybe it is just a lot easier decision to go for the field goal. And again, you're going against Josh Allen at that point, so maybe I should flip it and look back at the other way, because part of the reason that we were saying like that they should just try to go for the touchdown or just kick the field goal or whatever is, Lamar having to get into the end zone twice in a playoff game in the same drive. It's like, have we seen that happen a lot, Chad? Like, what are the odds that happens? Like, what are our confidence in him at that point? Because you can check the tapes. I've been about as I've tried to be as pro Lamar and as like even throughout the playoff losses. It's like, how much leeway do you give a guy? Because again, some guys, you look at a guy like Jane Daniels, yeah, every now and then there's a guy that just doesn't need any time to figure it out at all, and yeah, maybe that guy is going to be the next big deal. Mahomes is able to step right in, do his thing. Again, Brady had to over time become Brady in terms of the regular season and whatever, but with that defense early on and his playmaking ability and his clutchness, I mean, we saw him making game-winning drives and clutch plays all the time in those early Patriots days is a big reason. And I mean, he was up in MVP voting as well, too, within the first couple of seasons in the league. Which I think let me double check if that's true. It does go a little underrated and again, it's like the quarterback on the team, they were, with that defense, probably a good regular season team at that point. But yeah, I mean, 2003, yeah, 14-2. So 03 and 04, yeah, they were 14-2 in the regular season in back-to-back years. And it actually has some of the advanced stats a little bit better for him in 2004, but in 2003 he finished third in MVP voting, and in 2005 third in MVP voting. So again, in kind of those early years, like it really is only like 2 Brady years where you have to figure it out. So again, the question is like, how much leeway do you give a guy like Lamar? It's tough, and I know that game, of course, we'll get to the end of that game. It's a little bit different, but yeah, again, like those are the moments where I just don't know what, you always are so confident on the couch sometimes of your ability to just make decisions. And I get it as well too, chat, like the nitty gritty, like the X's and O's and all that stuff. Like, a football coach like right now would know more than me, obviously. Now, as an irrational fan on the couch, literally on the couch now, chat. I mean, if this doesn't make us just the most stereotype fan of all time, literally just sitting here on the couch just ranting about sports. But honestly, now that I'm seeing it, I like it, chat, because I mean that's what it is anyways, right? So it's like, why pretend to be anything else? Like, let's literally just sit on the couch and rant about sports. But again, like, as an irrational guy that could do that, I think, I could dedicate myself to the playbook and feel like you could catch up to some of these guys. Give me a couple of off season on Madden chat, and you're telling me I'm not going to throw together a better play. I mean, Matt Patricia literally ran an offense at one point in the NFL. Like, I'm sure there's people out there right now in the chat that can run an offense better than Matt Patricia just based on Madden plays. Like, that's not even a hot take, but, maybe some of the nitty gritty stuff, you would have to take time to develop that skill and that knowledge over time, obviously. But some of the decision makings, like, I feel like a lot of us football fans feel like some of the decisions, maybe we could have a better sense, again, in terms of maybe play calls and X's and O's of what to do in certain moments. But that would have been a tough moment for me, where as a coach, that would have been a real, like, consult the staff. Let's see what they say. Let's see what Josh Allen kind of says. And again, it's a big moment. And you have to also think as well, the Bills franchise in that moment. Like, if it's the Chiefs, like, honestly, if it's the Chiefs, maybe taking a field goal is just the easiest thing to do in the world, because, the refs are going to not allow the Ravens to, again, get in the end zone 2 times. Like, unfortunately, of course, Mark Andrews dropped the pass, and the Ravens, again, weren't able to get in the end zone twice. But the refs just wouldn't even have risked it with the Chiefs. They're like, no, just 3 false starts right away on the first down. We're like, wait a second, what happened? How is it 3rd and 40 and we're on our own, 7-yard line? But they wouldn't have taken any chances. But, the field goal with their defense, and just, again, the history of their franchise, the confidence they have in their defense, the confidence they have in their Spags. And, again, the equity you have to make a mistake as well, too, in a moment. Like, if the Chiefs get in a situation in this Bills game, in the conference championship game, and they have to choose between going for a 4th down, kicking a field goal, converting a touchdown, and they do one thing and it turns out wrong, like, yeah, of course Chiefs fans are going to be bummed out. Sam was literally saying on Friday that, like, even making, he's like, no, we do have, like, full-on Super Bowl expectations. Like, it's nothing less. We're not looking at maybe some of the weaknesses that maybe other people are pointing out. And I'm more on his side as well, too. I'm just saying that, maybe consensus is the Bills are just straight up a better team. But again, Sam was saying he has all that, he has about as much confidence in his Chiefs team as he's had in any of these playoff runs. But if they do make a big mistake in a moment, like they have the equity to go, it's okay, we'll run it back next year, because guess what? They've done that before, chat. Like, they've run it back already. They've literally won 3 championships. Yes, they're going for a 3-peat, but they have 3 rings under their belt already. And I feel like the Chiefs fans have already, mentally you already kind of pencil in a 4th one as well, too, down the road. I know, again, Sam was saying that this was kind of last dance vibe, so I don't know if they're, penciling in the Super Bowl for this season, but you just would be like, okay, at some point in the Mahomes run with his greatness, like we saw Brady get back there, even if it was after, quite a bit of a break. But, I mean, again, they have that equity to do that. But just in that moment for the Bills, like, that's just that's a tough decision to make, chat. And I think I would have gone for the field goal. Ultimately, it did end up being the right move. Great stop by the Notre Dame defense. Going to be 3rd and medium for Ohio State here. I mean, a stop right away? I mean, there's no way Notre Dame gets the ball back and, like, it goes down 2 possessions in a row and scores. But, again, because, again, they're not going to just wipe the floor with Ohio State. As the Michigan guy, I'm giving Ohio State too much credit. But it's also just, I'm just mentally preparing myself, Chad. There's just no way I mean, in the old pod days when it's just like, record an episode when you do it and then throw it up, like, I'd just be curled up in a ball right now. Just, I don't even know. Would I be watching the game? I might just be like play-by-play on the phone, just watching basketball. Which I guess basketball just doesn't want to put up a game as well, too, during this time. I think there is a couple games going right now, and there's Clippers Bulls as well, too, later tonight. But I feel like even up till last year, that MLK Day slate was almost like a Christmas Day slate. It was games all the way, all day. You had a 11, a 2, a 5, a 7, and a 9. And you just count on, I turn on the TV and there's going to be a primetime basketball matchup. So maybe in the regular season, that's, again, it is, it's a lot to ask twice. I mean, Maybe not. They're being paid to play basketball, so I know it's the great debate. Should they be out there playing basketball during the regular season, or shouldn't they be when they're under contract? But yeah, I get it. I get the arguments that maybe you spread out your primetime slate a little bit over the course of the week, but still, I just I like the mega event days, and it felt like the NFL's not at this point in the playoffs. The NFL was even taking over Christmas at this point. Like the NBA can come back and they still did. Like again, I think they had the primetime slate, but I think they tapped out as well 2-5. I think that Boston Golden State game was the last like TNT game for the day, which was again like a 5 o'clock start. So the game to go up against the national championship, and then the game after would, and then maybe the 7. It is going up against the national championship now with the 12-team playoff. What the national championship would have been probably last week in the 14 playoff, or 2 weeks ago or whatever. I don't know if we're gonna look up the dates for the old 14 playoff national championship. Be like, oh yeah, that was actually January 9th instead. So it is a little bit different now, but still, like we can't get like a Denver matchup later, like a TNT 9 Denver. And shout out to Charles Barkley as well too, getting the day off early. We know the man, he's down to I mean, he can probably still get around a golf in before the day's down. And now all of a sudden Ohio State's just at the 25. But on the Mark Andrews drop, but I guess, it is, of course, unfortunately, have impact on Lamar's legacy. And of course, you have to think about, how I guess it at least affects your at least own perception of sort of Lamar as a fan, and how you view your own confidence when, you're watching him in these games. And, that last play, it is not on Lamar Jackson. It's like that is objectively true, Chad. And guess what? There is moments throughout the game where Lamar had mistakes, and Lamar had moments where he turned it over, and he was not playing necessarily the greatest game that he played. Definitely throughout the regular season, but just again at that, he gets to this certain level in the playoffs where he's just continued to operate on that level he's been operating at in this playoff game, and it's not the same guy that we've seen in the regular season. So I get that, but ultimately at the end of the day, he made the drive at the end of the game to get him down in scoring position, scored the touchdown, made the right pass on the 2-point conversion, and the pass was there too. It was open. That sort of backpedal, that sort of tight end or receiver, whatever, backpedaling, getting the catch, sort of falling back into the end zone. I feel like we kind of see that all the time. And, unfortunately, he's just able to bobble it. So 7-0 Notre Dame at the end of the first quarter. Did anybody have Notre Dame first quarter spread? Hopefully. They at least won one quarter. So can they win a couple more, chat? And I guess can they just at least like tie a couple more, I guess they don't even have to necessarily win the other quarters. They've done enough. It's 7-0. Can they just hold out from here? But again, I get you could look at this game and criticize Lamar for the performance, obviously, and go, yeah, even though Mark Andrews dropped it, did Lamar do these things that were very, very costly throughout the course of the game? It's like, yeah, that's true. But I don't necessarily think this game, obviously, is a game it's like this game may not impact Lamar's legacy. Yes. But guess what? Like Lamar's legacy was in question, and obviously Lamar is a great player, but we're just saying, like, in the nitpicky stacking him up against his peers in the day, obviously Mahomes is, from a playoff standpoint, in kind of a level of his own, but him and Josh Allen were kind of on a similar plane at this field, and Josh Allen has obviously had some better playoff numbers, but he necessarily hasn't had a ton of overall more playoff success. So the fact that Lamar has had this much more regular season success than Josh Allen, and then if he had like a really incredible playoff run this year, like, that would be, I mean, you'd probably have to view him as the second best quarterback in the league at that point. It'd be like Lamar and Mahomes are the top two dogs, and of course Josh Allen. I mean, like, that's that's the big three, the Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole of the quarterback position right now. We got Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh Allen. So that's still going to be the big three regardless of how it shakes out this year. It's just like, especially now, with the results that we gotten in the AFC, that it really did shake down to those big three. Like, it still is again, for Lamar, it's just nitpicking his legacy against these other great guys. But, still you have to nitpick and you have to look at things. And I guess, Chad, you're probably going to say, like, it's not even nitpicks at this point. Like, these are some pretty obvious playoff mistakes. But, but again, even if this game is not a game where you look at this and go, oh, this is another game where Lamar couldn't make a play at the end of the game. Because, take the Chiefs game, for example, last year, where similar game, played kind of a similar, very, a very kind of sloppy performance, not sort of the typical Lamar great game that you'd expect, but still had his team in a position at the end to win the game, and still had his team driving down the field with a chance to take the lead with that touchdown. And then unfortunately for Lamar, he's the one that kind of makes the mistake, and he throws the pick to Likely. And there's, it was like that double team down the middle of the field. I can kind of see the defender going in for the interception and Likely trying to make the catch, and it's kind of in the end zone as well too. I can kind of see that play replaying in my mind. But it's like, okay, yeah, Lamar, even though he was on a path to redeem himself on that last drive last year, like, he ultimately, made a mistake and was not able to cap off that win. And it's like, yeah, even though this performance is not that performance from last year, it's like that performance from last year is still there, and that performance from the other playoffs are still there, and that performance throughout the other playoffs are still there. And while this performance doesn't necessarily, maybe it's not the big drastic hurt Lamar's legacy performance, unfortunately, it's not going to help his legacy, obviously, either. Like, it can't move it up. Oh, shout out Anthony Mackie, Winter Soldier dropping in theaters soon. A real tough beat for Anthony Mackie that the MCU is just not as, it's just not as hype as it used to be. Again, we were talking to the Champ Quinn about this when we were hanging out, and he was saying that he'll probably still, of course, go see, Captain America. He'll still try to go see it as soon as possible, opening night, whatever. Like, he'll make the effort because, especially for he's even more into, like, some of the characters than I am as well too. But, for people that are really into the, like, actual Marvel brand and all that stuff, like, it's more so than just watching good movies. Like, it is just seeing the portrayals of the characters on the screens. But that is what it used to be for Marvel. It used to be you were going to go see a highly anticipated movie. They were movie events. Infinity War was more than just the Avengers on screen. And even the Avengers on screen was more than the Avengers on screen. Like, Judkins in for the touchdown, chat. 7-7. So, one possession each. Notre Dame, they could have made a stop. Oh, not Judkins, Jeremiah Smith, sorry. In for the touchdown. But what were we saying about Winter Soldier? Like, maybe Infinity War and Endgame are better movies than Avengers, like, however you want to rank it. If you're going to give the nostalgia factor boost to Avengers Infinity War. I get it. I'm honestly, at this point, I'm leaning toward, like, in the moment I would have been like, oh yeah, how are Infinity War and Endgame not the best Marvel movies that have been made? But now it's like a couple years later, it's like, yeah, probably OG Iron Man's probably just, just objectively just the best Marvel movie, and it's just the one you want to go back and rewatch all the time. And it's just got the most nostalgia, and it's still just the best rewatch. But you were of course going and anticipating a higher quality movie, but they could have been awesome standalone movie events on their own. And yeah, of course, obviously the storylines in the movies benefited from storylines from other movies. Like, that part of it needed some of the connections. But the quality of the movie and, the quality of the storytelling that was being told, the quality of the acting performances, just, even in, like, the direction, the cinematography, where you look in some of the newer Marvel movies now, and it's just like, some of the CGI stuff's just not quite on point. It just doesn't even quite look as clean as some of these, peak Marvel movie performances did back in the day. So that was kind of the realization for me, that it was like, oh yeah, it really is. And that is what it used to be, for the old superhero movies. Like up until The Dark Knight, honestly, most superhero movies, and maybe just kind of Batman, Spider-Man, like there are some exceptions to the rules, of course, but a lot of superhero movies were just that. It were these niche movies for the people that Nietzsche. It were it was these movies for the group of people that wanted to just see that portrayal of the character on the big screen. And obviously, it's not even a degenerate Marvel fan like a guy like the Champ Quinn. Like even he might he's gonna expect quality from a movie. It's not like he's just gonna sit down and just enjoy every Marvel movie without caring what's happening. Like, of course, he's going to demand a certain level of quality. But again, just that anticipation of going and Marvel driving people to the theaters and the eventization of it all. Who is still showing up for these movies in the moment? And the thing is, like, that audience was, looking back, of course, at the beginning of the Marvel inception, I think a lot of people have talked about how just that audience in general was just a lot larger than than a lot of people would have expected. But it is kind of maybe the people that would have gone to see the first Iron Man movie in theaters on opening day are the people that are going to go see the Iron Man movie, or the Marvel movies that get released now in theaters, where it's that type of crowd. And again, like, it's like Iron Man was like a smash hit, it's the box, all this stuff. And the Marvel movies, it's I would assume this movie does super well from the box office. What was the last Marvel movie that we had, Chad? That's not even good that I would have to like go look it up to like try to remember. Oh, did the camera die, Chad? What happened to our webcam setup? Okay, is our mic still going? Okay, our audio is still going, chat, but our camera died. So give us 2 seconds and let us figure out this camera setup real quick. We will be right back, people. Sorry, we need to take a quick break. Is our commercial still work? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're back in the old setup as well, too. Apparently, our charging cable that we had the camera hooked up to is just not equipped to meet the demands of the camera, so we'll just need to improve that going forward. But hey, you live and you learn, and it's a good thing. You know, the old trusted, reliable setup is still easy enough to throw together and go back to at any time. So we just need to actually get the mic hooked up to the mic stand here. Oh, sorry, Chad. I'm actually gonna. Testing 1, 2, 3. Riley Leonard on third down. So a killer third and long, chat, is gonna force a fighting Irish punt. And I mean, this is a real fighting Irish scenario, chat, because make no mistake, we're definitely cheating on our Michigan team by rooting for this Notre Dame team. It's just what it is. Yikes, it's just what it is, chat. But we cannot see Ohio State win the national championship. We have to cheer the opposite way. It's just what it is. I got to say, chat, home field advantage, it's a real thing. Sometimes you got to adjust. You got to get used. I like being back at the old setup. It's a nice, comfortable situation. But don't worry, we'll get some good use out of it. We're going to continue to upgrade the watch party scenarios, the viewing setup, because it'll make it a better watch party experience as well too. I feel like we'll be able to, the idea is to, of course, be able to thoroughly watch the sports better, and to be able to, when we got the nights where we have the football, not even just the nights when we have a lot of that regular season basketball as well too, just to be able to keep up with as much as going on as possible. We're having a good time, Chad. That's the way that I guess I like to. I guess I just want to watch as many games as I can at one time. Apparently, that's how I like to consume the sport. I'm single-handedly keeping the NBA ratings alive, chat. Just tuning into all these League Pass games. But I was looking at some trying to find some good budget TV options to see if we could get a little TV set up in here, because again, you gotta have a nice, I feel like we gotta have the appropriate thing for the couch setup. And I found this one, and it definitely, make no mistake, it's definitely from a site that's I don't know if I need to be editing my credit card information into this website, but it was an 82-inch TV for $53. You're getting, it's 50 cents an inch. Pause. That's crazy, chat. I mean, make no mistake, you can't find that deal anywhere else, I don't think. I know there's not a lot of places that charge you 50 cents an inch. But apparently this TV from, I don't even remember the link. I wish I could drop the link, chat, and just let you guys know where you guys could find an 82-inch Roku TV for $53. I was like, is it worth? I guess you could, again, I don't know if I'm going to start turning over the expiration dates and the security codes, but maybe I've heard of people doing get the Visa gift card or whatever, and then you enter that information instead. So you just you get however much money you need for the purchase on a Visa gift card, and then you can just enter that information to whatever site you need. So I guess hopefully the sketchy website that's pirating these TVs is able to take Visa gift card information. Do they take cash online, chat? This might be one of those websites that's take cash. So just whoever drops it off at your door, just slip him some money. You just, the only rule for getting this TV delivered for $50 is you just have to be at the house when it gets delivered. He's only going to deliver it one time, and you have to give him cash on arrival. But you can get a TV for $50 apparently from this website. In the U.S., ships for free. I can get it in 2 days. I'm like, it's honestly, it's too good to be true. So We may just have to pass it up. The other option was to try to go like maybe because again, all the stuff we need is on TV, but it's on like online. So I was thinking, could we go like get maybe like a cheap projector setup, and then that way we could the size pause would maybe we could get a more bang for the buck that way than like a TV. Because then like if you go like the multi-view on the NBA with the bigger projector screen, like that could be a good setup, chat. That could be interesting. You never know. But stay tuned. I guess we'll keep workshopping it. We just have to get a better charging cord. But I guess maybe it is better off that way as well too. It's like a little sneak peek preview, I guess, of the casting couch. But yeah, I guess speaking of Marvel movies anywhere, that's a pre-credit scene of the new potential setup. Who knows? We'll see if we ever revisit the couch. Is that just our Matt McCusker podium alternate setup over there? We'll have to see. Jeremiah Smith, Will Howard back on the field, chat. We need that Gus Johnson Fox Sports graphic. Coming up next, Will Howard and the Ohio State offense. Jeremiah Smith, come on, Notre Dame needs to get a stop here. Oh, and the play calling from Ryan Day. An end around scoots around for the first down. And it's been a decade since they've won. I mean, this one is just objectively more painful because, again, of just the fact that Michigan, the fact that the upset doesn't mean anything, And maybe it shouldn't, but that's the idea of the game. The idea of the game is it to have those national level stakes. It's the biggest game in all of college. It's the biggest regular season game in all of college football. So the fact that it doesn't have national stakes anymore, if Michigan has the biggest upset in the history of the rivalry, is a little bit of a bummer. But that 2014 one was kind of tough, especially since Ohio State was down to what, their third quarterback. But Ezekiel was so good that year and in those playoffs. Again, another spoiler alert: he wouldn't be on our list for top 10 most hated. Maybe he should, but. He was too good. He overachieved to the point where it's obvious that Ezekiel Elliott's a great peak Zeke is obviously a great running back. Peak Zeke, pause. But those Ohio State years, and of course those first Dallas years, it was just even as a Michigan fan, obviously you hate that you have to face up against a guy that talented, and you hate that he's gonna have such a productive game against you, but. At the end of the day, you're just going to respect his talent. You're just going to shake his hand. You're going to say good game. And maybe other Michigan fans would view it that way. Maybe their list of the most hated athletes would be just the most elite athletes. And I mean, I think a list would be, it wouldn't be a list of scrubs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not like the 10 best Ohio State athletes that, Michigan's faced up against or whatever. 10 most talented. Oh, Ohio State, Notre Dame, chat. I'm already thinking about going to sleep, of course. I'm already thinking about just after this game. Make no mistake, chat. We love, I love watching games with the chat. It's too much fun. It's too much fun. We're going to be watching games anyways. We might as well just hang out together. But, does that sound, who knows, chat? But, we're all out here having a good time watching some college football, hanging out. This is the one time where it's this is no good. I don't want to watch this game. I don't want to be experiencing this moment. Will Howard using his legs, scrambling. I mean, it's only 7-7, but it's also, again, with that kind of a spread, you just know what the expectations are for the game. Will Howard 7 for 7 already? Jeez, chat. You know what the expectations are. At this point, it just becomes and again, I hope that Notre Dame is able to even win this game, but it's how long is Notre Dame going to hang around, I guess that's really it is. It's like, can they just hang around long enough to potentially have a drive at the end to win this? And they're, at least going to have to hold Ohio State to some field goals. Ohio State, maybe will miss a couple. 14-7. You just know Notre Dame's going to start panicking with the play calls as well, too. The passes, they're going to rely on Cat. Whoa! They're going to rely on Riley Leonard too much. That was an intense yawn. Okay, Ohio State timeout. Fumbling the bag on that possession. Maybe this is the start of the collapse. They're falling apart in the sideline chat. They can't even get the play call in. They're dysfunctional. They don't know what's going on. Is there anything going on in the NBA to distract our feelings? Unfortunately, people were actually requesting the Trump inauguration over NBA. And I'm not saying that as a political statement. I'm not saying it's not a political statement either. I'm just saying I would have objectively had just rather have watched NBA than the Trump inauguration. I think there's a lot of people on in the red wave that would agree with me on that, chat. Is it just going to be another big day for the red wave? Ohio State takes down Notre Dame, the Trump inauguration. Who knows, chat? Maybe they'll hold them to a field goal here. And just a tough day for MLK as well. Boston beats the Warriors by 30 points earlier. Jeez, chat. Boston with something to prove in a primetime spot. Tatum, 22 points. How did they even get to 125? This is one of these weird math games. Tatum with 22, Brown with 17, Porzingis with 18, Pritchard with 14, Holiday with 10. So I guess, a lot of guys in double digits, and Derek White with 8. Derek White was 2 for 4 today, so yeah, I guess technically that is efficient shooting, but it's also him maybe controlling some of the volume as well, too. Pause. Because he's definitely, like we said, in that cold streak he was having, he was like really going crazy. He was 0 for like 6. He'd be 0 for 6, 1 for 8, 3 for 9. It'd just be like, bro, sometimes just if they're not going in, you can do the other things. You're good at defense. You can hustle. You can play make. You can even get to the rim. Like Derek White, you got some dribble moves. You're quick. You can take a guy off the bounce. You don't need to just be settling for threes all the time. But, of course, that's what Missoula can want as well. But we had to miss out on this Mavs Hornets game. Oh, why do you just have like 6 yards in a row? Did that even go through, chat? Oh, man, Ohio State. Just a perfect bedtime team, chat. But we had to, miss this Mavs Hornets game. LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Kyrie Irving with 31 earlier. Gafford with 31 and 15. Oh, we need to watch the highlights for this one. Oh, speaking of Jim Trussell, on the field at halftime, you love to see it. LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges, 46 combined points today. I guess they have to match the 64 put up by Irving and Gafford. But shout out to like the non-primetime games as well too. Like half of them are primetime, and just the other half it's like, yeah, you got to play today, but nobody's gonna watch. Knicks Hawks, did that make it in the primetime slate? Was that like the 12 o'clock game? I think it had to have been, because I know it wasn't Suns Cavs, and it definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't Rockets Pistons. Did they even play Rockets Pistons today? When did that even happen? Did they just sim that game? Just get the result quickly. Shout out Detroit though, 107-96. Cade with a 32, 9 and 7 on 22 of 12, 12 of 22 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3-point line. Cade Cunningham, of course, looking like he's gonna be an Easter All-Star. Oh, that means Ohio State's gonna score. Every time I yawn, Ohio State's picks up a first down. It's like I'm in a Wonderful Life chat. Bells are ringing. Angels are getting wings. Ohio State's getting first downs. This is not good. I'm going to have to get some caffeine late at night just to hold off a national championship run by Ohio State. But if that's what it takes, I will do my part, chat. I'll go get one of those like iced bottled Frappuccino drinks from the gas station. Chug some coffee. I guess that's just mostly sugar, though, more so than caffeine. Get like a Ghost energy drink or something. Celsius, is that what the people are drinking right now? Celsius is pretty good. Prickly Pear Chat, what kind of Celsius are we drinking these days? Or are we moved on to the Ghost yet? Both equally as empty, at least in the Midwestern gas stations that we be hitting in this area. Pause. We're not admitting to anything. We're just saying we're going in there as customers. But every time we knock over these gas stations, they're out of energy drinks. First and goal. Judkins, he breaks one tackle, scoots inside, and Judkins goes in for the end zone. It's 14-7, and I think that'll just about do it, chat. I think we've had enough. Oh, I think we'll be logging off for the night. This isn't even entertaining. Why do we even like sports? What's the point of even watching football, chat? This isn't even really that fun. This guy's just got this thing and he's just running around. Like, it's not even really that impressive what Ohio State's doing. I mean, anybody can run with a football. Okay, you're just really fast with it. We get it. It's really not like that crazy, chat. I honestly don't think we need to do trophies anymore for the college football national championship. At least just test it out this year. Just, you know, it's just a football game. It doesn't really mean anything. And I just like, just take the trophy away and just play for the pride of the game. You know, let's just play for, you'll be the best team. You've won that title. And that will be enough. I don't know why we just need to start giving out more trophies and stuff. Have we not given out enough national championship trophies? At what point is it enough? At what point have we just had enough national champions? Like, do we need to keep just playing these seasons over and over and over again every year just to get a different result every year? Like, what's the point? We got Michigan at the end of last year. Like, who cares? Just, it doesn't, you know, why do we need to keep replaying these seasons? I don't understand what the point of new guys are, you know? Like, if the other guys are, like, I don't understand the point of just getting a whole new team every couple of years. And plus, this is a school. These are colleges, chat. Like, sports isn't even the main focus. Now these guys can actually, like, get paid, which is, I know people are tuning in right now, like, how does this kid look young? And it's just saying these old-timer points. But, you know, how are these people getting paid for playing sports? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, chat, that Ohio State needs to get confetti and a whole celebration just because they won the last football game of the season. Like, what's different about Ohio State winning the last football game of the season versus Northern Illinois winning that game against Ohio State in week 2? Like, both of them are wins. Like, one of them is just in January and one of them's earlier. Like, is there really that big of a difference between the two games? Like, the only thing that happens is guys get hurt, right, chat? Like, I mean, that's the other thing. The more games you play, the more you risk injuries for guys. So I know that all of these people and all of these committees and all of these organizations are out there saying that they're in favor of player safety, but then why do we keep letting them compete for the national title? If player safety is a priority in football, we should get rid of the national title and stop playing games. We should no longer let Ohio State compete in football if we're actually concerned about player safety. If that's the priority, no more Buckeyes. But there's just no need to keep playing every single season. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I think I'm down to play games. Like, I think the Michigan-Ohio State game should be played every year. Like, that's a great rivalry game. I think we should play for pride and play for the, that respect for the schools every season. But I mean, what's the point of just doing a whole what's just the point of doing a whole national championship? And now it's a 12-team national championship. It's like, okay, you've got another regular season. Well, what's the point of the regular season if there's 12 teams in the national championship? What's the point? Do we even need a 12-team playoff? We need to go through all this extra work to try to figure out just every year who this one team is that just gets this. Do we need to do all this work to hand out this trophy, chat? Don't we need that resources for something? We can't use the gold somewhere. We don't got some AI computer chips that need the silver in the national championship trophy. I think we melt it down. Mold it back into a YouTube play button, chat. Is this SoFi? I wasn't paying attention to what stadium they were in. But, of course, the SoFi circular, what do you call it, Jumbotron. But maybe, does Atlanta have that now too? Are they in Atlanta? I'm guessing, I guess LeBron is either LA or Ohio State. Which, I mean, if LeBron shows you, never mind, we can't keep making jokes about LeBron. Shout out LeBron. That was close. We were almost going to get canceled, chat. A joke too far on LeBron. Make no mistake, Bron. We'd keep secrets. I mean, if you drank, why would you? If you're Drake, why wouldn't you just... Who cares, chat? What, are you going to take LeBron down too? Who's going to take LeBron down? You know what? Who's going to take LeBron down? Nobody's taking LeBron down, Drake. Is that what you thought was going to happen? You thought you were going to, quote-unquote, take LeBron down? What did you want to happen when you dropped the diss track? Like, that's just the frustrating part with some of these moves. Is it's just like, what do you want to happen, you know? And I know, Sam, unfortunately, has not said anything to defend his guy Drake either with these lawsuits, but I think that's telling. I think that maybe says something. I think we need to maybe check Sam's Spotify numbers as well, too, to see if his thoughts on the Drake lawsuit have been reflected in that at all. And, overall on Spotify, he's still at the top of the streaming game. I guess his popularity at this point is unassailable. Oh, Notre Dame fumbles the snap. The motion across the field interferes with the snap on the way to the quarterback. Honestly, that's just on Riley Leonard just mistiming the snap call, Chad. It's just what it is. You think somebody with Notre Dame grades could understand timing like that? Could just quickly kind of calculate when it's almost like he was timing it to when the tight end was right in line with the football. It's almost like he was thinking, don't hike it right at that moment. Don't do it. And then he just clapped right when he said he shouldn't have done it. Double pause. Good stop by the Notre Dame special teams, but it literally doesn't matter. Ohio State can go the length of the field. They've shown that they can do it on multiple sessions already tonight. So already, chat, 4 minutes and 53 seconds left in the second quarter, and we have a chance to go. And this is what we're talking about. Like, as a superior team, you do want... That is, I guess, the opposite... What do you call it? The downside of being the inferior team getting that ball like that pause to start the first half, where, again, as Notre Dame, us getting to set the pace as the lesser team might actually be what we want for this game. But on the other side, now Notre Dame is kind of in a position to control some clock and score, make this 21-7, go into halftime, get the ball back, score again, make it 28-7. Completely dominate this game. I mean, 4 minutes and 50 seconds left, and they're on their own 20. This literally feels like a touchdown with 15, 12 seconds left on the clock, This feels like perfect amount of time. I think Ryan Day knows exactly how to manage this from a drive standpoint. Getting it out to Smith for the quick play of only 2 yards there, but just a quick play. Trying to get some yards after the catch. Let the clock move a little bit as well, too. Like, that's one of those you probably know you're going to get some positive yards, so first down, at least you're going to be moving forward on the sticks. Oh, the double RB pitch. Not quite what we saw from the Lions when they had the running back pitch it back to the tight end running into the middle of the field. But just kind of that classic old school triple option. The wishbone back to the halfback. What is technically the wishbone back, chat? Can we get the wishbone back? I guess do we want to look that up on Urban Dictionary or in the football playbook? Which one are we looking that up in? But is that something that XO guys can explain to us in much better detail? 3rd and 7, chat. Will Howard gets it out easily. Is there a window open in here? It's literally 6 degrees out, chat. There's just like a big gust of wind that blew in here. Why is there a window open? It's the middle of winter. It's literally Arctic freezing temperatures. Like, it's like that wind had ice. Like, there's snow in here now. Should I admit that on the live stream, chat? I swear to you, it's the wind. The window is open. I promise everybody that's actual snow. It's January. But no, it's like, icicles, chat. It's not quite to the level of... It's still to the level where you can, like, be, like, kind of a fake tough guy for a little bit with some of this stuff. Like, you can kind of adjust. It's still not quite negative degrees. Like, it's just in the, it's like literally like 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees. Like, you can kind of fake it with some of the jackets and coats. But, again, it's a good windy day away from being, like, go outside and your, the snot in your nose freezes up. Your eyes just freeze shut. Don't go outside after watching Titanic because the tears will be frozen to your face. Like that level of cold, chat. Colder than, I guess, the ending of Titanic, unfortunately. Maybe not, though, I don't have an exact measurement on the waters of the Greenland waters. Is that why we actually won Greenland for the area that the Titanic went down in? We got to get the international Titanic waters. No, I doubt. It's probably for the Titanic waters. Shout out. Did we do a video on our Greenland thoughts? I'm sure it's been brought up at some point. But were we talking about Drake, chat? I was saying with this lawsuit, like, yeah, it is frustrating to look at it and go, like, what is the end goal? Like, with some of this stuff. Like, again, with the freestyle, like, what is the end goal of the freestyle? You go, okay, yeah, I guess we know what the immediate goal of the freestyle is, to throw dirt on somebody that potentially shaded him. And, I guess maybe in a greater beef that is a thing to do. But you also think, it's like LeBron James. Like, how can LeBron James respond to Drake? Like, it's literally the easiest... For in terms of a rap battle, like attacking a non-rapper is just, it's like literally the easiest thing Drake can do. So I don't even know if it's, an impressive move. Like, it is a song where it's like, oh, there's, I guess, maybe things about the song itself where I go, if Drake is, like, Drake musically right now, I can't actually see him in a place where I go, I could see myself really liking the music that he dropped. And 100 Gigs as well, too, like, has really good songs on it. Circadian Rhythm, of course, is a great song. And there's a song that came on the other night, again, when we were hanging out in the car after the game with Champ Quinn from the 100 Gigs pack. And I forget which one it was. I think it might have been the one with Thug on it. Because, of course, Free Thug, shout out. I had to bump a couple of the new Thug songs. But
in the song with Lil Baby on it. He played the song with Lil Baby on it as well, and we were talking about Thug, so I don't know if I'm just getting it confused with the Thug track on 100 gigs. But whichever one, Circadian Rhythms is the one that's been in my rotation mostly. But was it It's Up? It might have been It's Up. Is that a track off of 100 gigs? I really honestly have just been bumping Circadian Rhythm, but as always, when you hang out with the Champ Quinn, he's like gonna get a song back in your rotation. It's Up, and to be honest, again, I don't know what Drake's gonna be, how the music is gonna be filtered into the rotation right now. The shuffle has not necessarily been feeding us as much Drake in some of the the Spotify hip hop, like all the Spotify generated stuff that it gives you, some of those pre-made playlists. But again, I just don't know if that's my own sort of listening habits at the moment, and it's just being reflected in this generated stuff. But with the lawsuit, you do just look at it and go, like, what is the end goal here? Like, what is going to happen after the lawsuit where, Travis Scott performing at halftime? That's right. Isn't he making like a big announcement, chat? We're going to get a Travis Scott album update. We're going to get a release date, some kind of tour information. Who knows? But again, it's just like, where are we going to be at the end of this? Where literally the only... And, I guess I still don't really know how it is going to affect his legacy at the end of the day, because, again, like, literally his legacy is, like, feels like it's shifting in real time. So I guess we can talk about maybe where it would affect it in the moment. But it's like, I just don't know how it's going to continue to go up or down, because I just don't know how this is going to play out. And I can, maybe do some projections in my mind. But I guess there is the 0.5% chance that, he completely uproots the music industry and just somehow is able to make it so much better for all these independent artists and all these people to be able to make it on their own. And like, if he's somehow actually able to pull that off, chat, like, then I guess, that it might be the greatest, it might be the greatest flip of getting dissed in history. And it might be the greatest way to win the battles, just to go, well, I guess I'll just break the industry and make it better for everybody. But again, I think is a 0.5% chance, like, even too generous at this point? And I know we can look at some of the lyrics and like Red Button and all that stuff, but he's also like just a real, Drake is, of course, like a real talented just lyricist in general. Like, it wouldn't be, I think, crazy for the man to conjure up a couple of scenarios about some industry thing going on that might not necessarily be totally true, and then like rap about him really well. Like, I don't think that that's necessarily totally off the table, or maybe sort of miscalculating some sort of industry stuff. But it's when Not Like Us dropped, of course, in the moment, it was just the impact of it right away was, is this the greatest diss track of all time? But what it has forced Drake into, like how Drake has reacted to the diss track, is maybe actually what is making this the greatest diss track of all time. Like, Drake himself is actually making this the greatest diss track of all time. And I have been thinking about that impact as well compared to like Hit 'Em Up, because you literally think about like the Tupac and Biggie battle. Literally, people unfortunately died in that battle. So I guess at the end of the day, it's like, I guess how grim do we want to view this conversation? Like, what is the most, sort of like, if Hit 'Em Up if Hit 'Em Up then got Pac shot, like, it's like, is that the most effective diss track of all time? Because it forced the person to literally like get the guns out, like, instead of going to the lawyers. But I guess again, if we're just maybe talking about the ones that have not involved, maybe unfortunately a death, how Drake has, how badly the loss has impacted him emotionally is just clearly, it's like Pusha T, you may still look at that track that he dropped on Drake and just go, maybe even that track is still just more scathing, and the information that he reveals in that, like, you go, okay, the information that he reveals in that is actually true, and legitimately like new and breaking information. It was like this whole thing about Drake having a son. Like, is Kendrick like actually revealing any information to us, or is he just, kind of just throwing jabs at, I guess more than jabs, but is he just, and it's more than name calling as well too, but you get what I'm saying when I'm trying to say that. Like, is he just more like flinging these accusations and sort of things at him than revealing information? But I mean, regardless of it, just what it has caused the opponent, how the opponent has reacted to it. I mean, it's generated the most impactful opponent reaction of any diss track ever. And maybe you just go Drake having to admit that he has a son. Again, it was like, these are all, unfortunately, Drake's involved in a couple of them, of course. Like, there's some other like major things, but just for him to, because it is affecting maybe even the music legacy part of it. I know there's still a big commercial success that he's having, and that is not necessarily going to go away for the short-term streaming area. 75, 100 years from now, when people view hip-hop like, Beethoven or whatever, and it's like the 2 or 3 hip-hop artists that are Beethoven, like, is Drake the Beethoven of hip-hop? Like, Kanye always is like, I'm Mozart, I'm Beethoven. Like, and that's the thing, that he's not just saying that like he's a great artist like Beethoven. No, Beethoven is an artist from like, I guess I don't know when he was around, but like what, like the 1500s, Mozart, like these guys from centuries ago, that their music, you still play it and you go, oh, like that's good. Like Beethoven's symphonies are just objectively good, chat. I mean, are we going to get copyrighted for playing the Fifth? I don't know what the copyrighted laws on these symphonies are, but these are like legit songs, chat. The Beethoven symphony is a slap. Beethoven slaps. It's just what it is. And it's like 500 years later, there are people writing symphonies all the time back in Beethoven. Was there a Drake back in Beethoven's day? Was there a guy that was just the most popular guy in the day, had all the single guy that just Beethoven watched him just get all the chicks in the pool houses and the, whatever sort of, they just like really only had pool houses, right? They literally just uncovered a pool house somewhere else. Was it Pompeii? I don't know. I got that on my feed as well too. They were just like, we uncovered a house with a spa in Pompeii. We always love uncovering a spa in a pool back in the day. But I mean, it's of course a very early, obvious source of entertainment, water, being in the water, and then just relocating that to an area that you own makes a lot of sense. But yeah, a lot of pool houses, very, very popular throughout history for sure. But was there a Drake in Mozart's day that was maybe Beethoven's day that was as popular as these guys, but just as time goes, and I guess not that, of course, Drake is still popular. I guess he hasn't fallen off. But like, is there a guy that had those numbers, and then maybe now we look at him and just, we don't know about it, and we haven't heard about him. Maybe this guy went to court and sued Beethoven over a diss symphony that he dropped. You never know. And now all of a sudden, like, his legacy's been tarnished. And now they get into the end zone, and it is this time Judkins. 12 play, 80 yards, less than 5 minutes, 21-0 before half. Ohio State's going to get the ball at halftime. So we know Drake bet on Notre Dame. That's unfortunate. But maybe he's not even, we didn't even see a Drake bet thing. That's how you know this lawsuit might be serious. Drake's like, I got to keep the funds in the bank. I'm going to court with UMG. And it's unfortunate that Drake's bets were not a little bit more successful. If Drake had some more successful bets, maybe he'd be better set up to go to court against UMG. But unfortunately, he was, we can look up that number, Chad. It was out there, right? Can we find that? How much has Drake lost on gambling? Shout out autocorrect. Drake's wagering records. Okay, this is 2023. Drake's biggest wins and losses. January 13th. Look at this. Drake's sports betting history. Somebody has to be tracking this. There's no way. We literally get updated posts about it every time. The hip hop stars bet in 2024 brought in overall loss of 1.59 million. Looking at his last 10 bets, he's lost 1.9 million. To be honest, that's not, I mean, that is obviously a ton of money. Like, if you're going to court against UMG, you're going to need every $1.59 million that you can get. But I guess I thought Drake was a worse game. I guess he was maybe betting more and losing more. I don't know. I feel like his record might not be too bad at that, but like because he's betting such a ton of money. So yeah, it's like obviously he lost 1.5 million, but you know how much is he betting? Hip Hop Star is down 1.5 million. Dropped 200K. I guess 1.5 mil is 1.5 mil. It's just like, what is Drake's gambling budget? You know, is his full gambling budget invested in the books right now? Has he bet his entire bet slip? 300, 400K, 500K. So I guess, but he's maybe not losing, but you know, he's maybe has lost like $1.6 million the last couple of years. And we officially go into halftime with Marcus Freeman needing to make the most insane motivational speech of all time. Probably not going to be playing any Drake either to get his team hyped up. You never know, though. We could be wrong. But again, chat, like how from a perception standpoint can you recover from this? Because I guess, is it to the point where is it the conversation for Drake this whole time throughout the beef was, you know, maybe he just needs to kind of step back for a second. If he wants to drop some music, but just, you know, work on the music, drop a really good project when it's ready, and just, you know, kind of stay quiet. Just, you know, take the L and just move on to the next thing and just get back to working the music and get on when you're ready. Like, that was definitely obviously a like really big train of thought for sure at the time of the beef and all that stuff. But, you know, as that progressed, like there was still the chance even as he was complaining about the stuff and even as he was, you know, making these moves post beef, it was like, okay, as long as Drake can still do that, you know, it's going to be okay. Like as long as Drake can just get back in the booth, maybe if he just takes a step back for a second and just gets back to focusing on the music and just, you know, gets back to doing the Drake thing, like, you know, whatever that was, I guess, not like us, but, you know, I obviously giving the man the benefit of the doubt and just, you know, going back to making those good albums, good money moves, just being Drake. But, you know, just getting back in the groove of things. And the fact that, of course, the fact that he's just been so far off, chat, has just been crazy to watch. But the whole time he could definitely make a comeback in the eyes of the people. And if he just drops good music, and if he drops good music now, is it going to be well received? Because again, even that there was good musical elements in the Fighting Irish song. Like, unfortunately, you know, for him, again, it's another kind of weak overall move. But, you know, like the conductor Williams production is insane. Like his flow is great. Like all the rhyme, like Drake in that vibe is really great. And honestly, even the video of it, like Drake kind of sipping the wine, and, you know, was there a fireplace in the background? Like, you know, it was all very on brand, and it was very in tune with what he was doing at the end of For All the Dogs, and maybe how some of his rap sound might move into that sort of production style in some of these next projects. Like, I don't know if the Party Next Door one maybe necessarily is like that, but, you know, maybe some of his own solo stuff moves into maybe some more of that sounding stuff. Or obviously, you know, he drops these expansive projects, maybe he continues to have more of that stuff on there. Like, there are good things about the Fighting Irish freestyle, obviously. Like, you know, it's Drake, but as an overall song and as an overall move, of course, it again just presents itself as another kind of weak move. And now that the lawsuit is like officially going in, and again, maybe there is just that possibility that he's just, you know, completely gonna uproot the music industry in all the right ways. But is he to the point where if he drops good music, it's gonna be received by the masses with the sort of the same way? And again, I'm saying like good music, because that was always the thing. It's if Drake drops good music, like if he's dropping, more of the Heart Part 6, then obviously that's a problem. But if he can get back to 100 Gigs was again, those songs are really, really good. I think he can even go a little bit of a step up from there. And again, if he's on that Conductor Williams vibe, and if his flow is like that, and if he's that motivated as well too on the track, it's unfortunately, again, it's just motivated in the wrong directions. But if he just is able to channel that right energy into the right ways in the track, and it's just able to all come together on these songs and on these projects, how is it still going to be received by the fans? Not as just going to be received as good music, but are we anticipating good Drake music anymore? Are we anticipating Drake music to see if it's still good, or are we anticipating Drake music for Drake? I just don't really know where we're at with Drake at this point. It's just, he's been in the news so much, and it's not been musically, and every day there's just a new story and a new development, and it's like he's just a new way to complain about the loss. And it's both sides of it being the loss. It's like, one, just in the competitive aspect, it's like, there is a respect, of course, and not to say that Drake's not worth respecting. We're not dropping a diss track here on him. We're just, this is just how we feel about a guy that's been in our top 5 music artists. All again, we speak on it like a fact that this is a guy that's been in our rotation all these years. This is one of the big 3 of the era that we grew up in, and that's just always going to be, those 3 guys just always going to be ingrained in us musically in a way that really no other 3. I don't know how any other 3 artists can, just have that same connection. Like they just listening to the music at those time of those lives, and they're dropping new music and they're dropping those albums. It's just like, obviously no other artist is going to be able to recreate those moments unless we can develop a time machine and, grow up with Tupac. But, again, just like our personal feelings and our personal relationship about it, there is, of course, a respect in if you lose the diss battle, just to take your losses and to move about your business. But it also is just from the personal aspect of it as well too, just to see somebody so bothered by this, where it is like, okay, yeah, this is obviously like a tough thing. Certified lover boy, certified is, tough when everybody in the club is singing it. But it is also one of those things, I feel like he doesn't also understand that people are just singing words, right? Yeah, obviously we know what we're not blind to what we're singing, but we're also not singing with pitchforks. I guess not all of us outside the house. I guess in the lawsuit, of course, a couple people were going to some extremes, and obviously that is a part of it as well too, that you don't want to have happen as an outcome. In a musical battle and a musical beef, you don't want to have it to start to spill over where now, if he is taking his kid out of school and stuff like that, is obviously not good for that element. I'm not saying that the track is now a bad track because it did that. I'm just saying that's obviously unfortunately a bad impact of the track. Trump dropping a message at halftime? Did the bullet squint his eye? Is there something, did it whiz past his eyelid or something? Is he, that portrait is just that portrait sort of pirate thing he's going for is just his look now, I guess. And he's always had that sort of squint, but he's really leaning in. Did he just do the inauguration today and then just record? They're like, okay, now that you're president, you have to record a video for the college football halftime message. His first action. Brother, we need Cap Cut back. What a great first list of first day things to do for Trump, man. I can't wait to give fast food to whoever wins this game. If it's Ohio State, it's Popeyes. If it's Notre Dame, it's White Castle. Subway? What's the most white fast food restaurant? Probably, maybe Subway. Imagine your first 2 things you have to do are to save this great nation are you have to give us TikTok back and record a message for the college football crowd. I guess the college football crowd is probably, they're probably not against seeing that message. Watching ESPN on a random Monday night. Probably, hey, I probably wish I would have been there. You know, probably quite a few of those could be heard right about now. But, yeah, electrifying list. Not like there's, you know, other things going on. What's next, Chad Greenland? We shall see. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to, like, you know, we're not cutting Drake out the playlist. Drake is not no longer, like, I know there are people, like, I guess I don't want to speak for, like, Bomani Jones, but, like, I know Bomani Jones was like, oh, yeah, I always knew Drake was sus from, like, back in the day, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know, you know, where he has him on, like, an all-time rankings list. You still got to give the man his respect for his career and his legacy, and, you know, maybe this is just the next phase of Drake's career, unfortunately. Like, if you look at his career, like, it's been a career. Like, if Drake retired at this point, it would be a full career with full phases, and you would look at this and go, yeah, the early development, that early run with those mixtapes, and then he had that breakout run with the albums, and he was winning the awards, and Take Care, and Nothing Was the Same, and then really stamps his commercial success with the 2015 run, and he's got the Future, and he's got his mixtapes, and then takes it to another level, and then hits the peak of his powers as the streamer and the most popular rapper with those views and Scorpions, and, you know, still dropping high-level projects. And then, yeah, maybe the album quality falls off the last couple of years, and then, you know, the commercial numbers are still there, though. The success is still there, the popularity, and he's still dominating the game. And, you know, I don't know how many more albums we're going to get. You know, obviously the Party Next Door album, and I assume maybe, you know, at least one more solo album he's going to drop. Like, you know, I don't know if it's if Drake and J. Cole and these guys go for another decade and drop 4, you know, if Drake is going to just work at his pace and give us 4 more studio albums before he actually retires, or if he's just, you know, 1 to 2 away and a lot closer than we think. But the man has had a career at this point. I know, of course, we all know that it's not that he's not going to not stay on top for a long time. But, you know, unfortunately, it's like when the guys, it's like, I mean, look at what's happening with Aaron Rodgers right now. Aaron Rodgers might be a good example. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is a perfect, like, career for career comparison. And I don't know if I've said this on here before, but I was thinking about rapper NBA comparisons, and I was thinking maybe Drake is Wilt Chamberlain, you know? Maybe a little frisky out in the clubs, put up a lot of stats, maybe, you know, maybe used his teammates for his own success at times, but, you know, still like an all-time great player that you really have to. I think the Drake-Wilt Chamberlain comp is one of the best all-time. Maybe is just the most solid rapper to sports comparison. Like, let me know if I'm wrong, chat. Maybe I'll pull it up. Maybe we'll put up a poll. Stay tuned to the Rem and Sam pages. We may put up a poll for some rapper basketball comparisons, but it just seems like there's a lot of overlap between those two guys. But, like, for Rodgers' example, like with the guy's legacy, it's, you know, some guys can fade away gracefully. Like, you know, Jay-Z, I think, faded away pretty gracefully at this point. But, you know, even 444, like, the album he dropped before that it was still nominated and stuff. You know, it's Jay-Z, but I don't know if it was that, you know, it's not For All the Dogs either. I can't necessarily go back in time and say what the perception was of that album. What year did that drop again, chat? Was that like 13? Oh, not the song. That's close. We're going to get copyright struck for playing the Jay-Z Timberlake collab. Yeah, 2013. So I wasn't necessarily reading Pitchfork back in 2013. So I don't remember like how this album was received back in the day. But again, it was, or like, you know, it's not like Jaw Talk's music page was around on Instagram at this time to give us the review. But, oh, is this the Travis performance, chat? Whoa! We should lock in. Shout out, Travis! Shout out to just a run of great halftimes on these events. We're getting Beyonce, we got Beyonce about a month ago. And then we're going to get the Super Bowl in 2 to 3 weeks. So that is a good stretch where every month or so we got a Beyonce, Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar. 3 straight little stretches. Unfortunately, I did not hear at all what that song was. Whoa, the trombone on fire? Wait, is he in the stadium? No, he's like on a rooftop. Wait, so is this being broadcast in the arena? I'm confused. I just looked over midway through this performance. Oh, there's a drone recording Travis Scott. There we go, chat. The drones have been answered. Travis Scott is doing promo. Imagine that's what it is. Imagine the drones this whole time are just promo for Travis Scott's new album. I mean, let's be honest. That's not the worst theory that's been floated out there. When I said that, you were like, oh, that is like a little bit of a chance that might be true. Like, if there's anybody that would pull a stunt that crazy, it would be Travis Scott. I think Travis Scott, and maybe, he'd be flying the drones over Texas or Houston or something or whatever, but Travis Scott flying drones in the in the East Coast to promote his next album. But let's take a quick break before halftime is over, and then we will be back. Unfortunately, I think we'll be back, chat. I don't know if you don't see us again for like at what point do you have to check in and we'll see if we're okay. But yeah, we'll be back soon, I guess. Halftime will be over and we'll just have to watch Ohio State win this national championship. I guess it is what it is. Stay tuned if you want to suffer with the rest of us. Okay, chat, we are back. Don't worry, it will all be over soon. Halftime will be over. The game will be over. The college football season will be over. This Ohio State season will be over. And we'll just all be able to go about our business and just remember the days when Ohio State wasn't the 2025 national champion. I mean, I love this great country, people, but if the attacks start now, then at least Ohio State wouldn't be named the national champion. That's all I'll say. But maybe Notre Dame makes the comeback of a lifetime in the second half. We shouldn't write them off yet. We should have faith in our boys. We should have faith in our Catholic brethren and sisters to potentially, if anybody's going to pull off a miracle, I mean, if anybody's going to pull off, it'll be the Catholic Church. But yikes, chat. Anyways, let's see here. Did we talk enough about that Bills-Ravens game? We did talk about Lamar a little bit. Josh Allen, of course. I really hope that there is just some way that the man wins the MVP this year. Again, I still think that I would rather see Mahomes in the Super Bowl than Josh Allen. I know that's an unpopular opinion, chat, and that's honestly tough for me. I don't even know if that's honestly true because, like, Josh Allen is the man's definitely earned, like, at least kind of like how the Lions, had as a franchise been through so much to the point where we go, okay, as an NFL community, if this team is having success, we're not going to feel animosity from these other fan bases because Detroit has definitely earned the right to have success. And it's like, yeah, Josh Allen, I feel like he's earned the right to win the Super Bowl. It's like Josh Allen is like top of the list of, if my team can't win the Super Bowl, then yeah, Josh Allen, that's fine. He can win the Super Bowl. He definitely gets it. He earns it. And Lamar as well, too, on the other end. We're not, both those guys are, I've equally had accomplished as much accomplishments in their careers to where, a Super Bowl would just be a great thing for those guys to have from a legacy standpoint. But, for me, it'd be cool either way to see either of those guys win it. It'd be interesting as well, too. Like, it's interesting both ways from a legacy standpoint where it goes. It's just, how does Allen get his name back in that conversation? What happens to Mahomes as well, too. I mean, even on the other side, Jaden Daniels from a legacy standpoint, it's just really interesting as well. But I just really hope that there's some way that Josh Allen I really hope he wins the MVP this year. I know it's consensus as Lamar. I guess why do we remember exactly why it turned out that way, chat? Was it just because of that regular season game? I mean, again, Lamar had an awesome regular season. I'm not going to sit here and scratch my head and it's like we go pull up the numbers and I don't remember why. I'm just saying, like, do I have to go back and look? Like, how bad was Josh Allen sucking there at the end? Pause. That's crazy, chat. Yikes. How bad was he playing at the end of the season to where Lamar just decisively had that win? And Josh Allen had that. I mean, after that Rams game, Josh Allen was like a lock for MVP. That Rams game, he was 342 yards and 3 touchdowns, 82 rush yards, and 6 touchdowns in that game. Josh Allen has 6 touchdown game this year. He's not going to win the MVP. It's crazy. They got that win in Detroit as well, too. And then New England, the Jets, they put up 40 on the Jets. They lost to New England. Josh Allen didn't play in that game. And then, the wins versus Denver and Baltimore in the playoffs. The San Francisco game they won, he was, stats-wise, kind of a low-key game, but still 2 pass touchdowns, 148 yards. So let me go look and remember those end of Lamar season games. Because, after that Rams game, man, it really felt like it was going to be Josh Allen. So, wait, what day was that Lamar, or that Josh Allen Rams game? That was the 8th. They have the days listed here instead of the weeks. So Lamar on the 8th since then. So that would have actually been the Ravens bye week as well, too. So the week before that, they lost to Philly. Lamar had good numbers in that game, 237 and 2 touchdowns. And they went into the bye. Josh Allen has this incredible game. And then the Ravens, they do, of course, have 5 games in a row. I guess 4 games in a row to end the regular season where they... Or no, that's right, because they played 2 playoff games now. Where... oh, no, but yeah, they lost to Buffalo. Sorry, Chad. I got to dial in. Give me a second. Yeah, they won 4 in a row to end the regular season. And Lamar... I mean, he was awesome in that New York game, 5 touchdowns. But that's just a week after Allen did his 5 touchdown performance. Oh, no, Chad. Judkins up the middle. The Ezekiel Elliott in the national championship game. Oh, he's no Zeke, though. He gets run down from behind. Ha! That's all we have to basically root for at this point, chat. He just doesn't score on that. All we're rooting for is just they don't score on individual plays. Again, worked out perfectly. End of half scenario. Killer. It's going to be 28-7. I mean, if it was 8-7, you go Notre Dame's probably not going to come back and win this game. But 28-7, it's definitely over. But Lamar, his first season over 4,000 pass yards. Wow. I guess didn't put 2 and 2 together for that this year. And that's right. I remember seeing that stat on TV too. I think I brought that up where Lamar this season has like the 4th highest passer rating in NFL history. So, there's that as well too for the MVP case. I get it. 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That is crazy, chat. 41-4. Jeez. You don't realize the efficiency. I guess Allen may be a little more turnover heavy at times. How many did he have? Did he have more than 12? Allen had 6 interceptions. He didn't have 41 passing touchdowns. He had 28. 3,700 pass yards. Again, Lamar, and kind of the opposite for Josh Allen. Josh Allen's had over 4,000 pass yards each of the last 4 seasons, which is a crazy run for Josh Allen. You kind of, you assume it's so much easier to just pencil in a guy for 4,000 yards now. Even if a guy like Josh Allen, back in the day, it feels like kind of a 3,800 yard, that dual threat with the running ability. Like if he doesn't get to 4,000 yards or whatever, that's fine. But, now with that extra game, it feels like that 4,000 yard mark is just so much easier to get to. But yeah, like even Mahomes, I don't even think got there this year. So, Lamar definitely, of course, again, the passing, a bit of a step. The passer rating as well too, way off the charts. And I guess Lamar was the first team All-Pro quarterback as well too. So that might be a bit of a dead giveaway. But from a running standpoint, Josh Allen was 531 rush yards and 12 rushing touchdowns, 15 rushing touchdowns last year. So Josh Allen has had, almost 30 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 seasons combined. That's crazy. Lamar Jackson, on the other hand, he probably was up 915 yards, but 4 touchdowns. So see, it kind of all evens out, chat. Do we need to look back up their fantasy points again? Was Josh Allen the #1 fantasy quarterback, or was it Lamar? This is going to be Pro Football Reference and not ESPN, so if the scoring is... it might only be a couple points off that makes the difference, but we'll go with this site to make our call for our official vote. Wait, where'd the fantasy stats go? Oh, here they are. Oh, Chris Fowler, announcing the touchdown for Judkins. We're not even going to pay attention. Ohio State officially now 28-7. But I guess 27-7. They still have to potentially get this extra point. So maybe they'll miss it. Something to again laugh about potentially. But even still, just who are the NFL voters even more robotic than the NBA voters? Because at least the NBA voters gave the Embiid to they gave Embiid an MVP at one point, and now that's not even an at least. He was awesome in scoring that year. And Embiid was in the mix as a contender for the couple seasons. He earned his shot at the title and he won it that year. But it's not like Jokic wasn't awesome that season. It's not like Jokic wasn't deserving of the MVP. And me and Sam argued about it as well too. And made the case that in the one head-to-head game that they did play, Embiid did statistically have a better game than Jokic. Of course, Embiid, on the other hand, like we see the stats now about how long he played in Denver. Obviously, like the 1,800 days overlapped with that MVP season. He sat out that performance. But, there was a little bit of, I guess Jokic voter fatigue, but it was like, yeah, I guess, okay, Embiid gets this one this year. And yeah, I know I've said that a bunch. I make that statement a bunch, and that sounds like, I don't want that to sound like disrespect to the Embiid MVP, like he didn't earn it. And it was like, Jokic let him have it for one season. Like, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying, like, Jokic was also playing at an MVP level and could have garnered MVP votes that season very easily as well. And I just don't know how much that could have necessarily played into the narrative, where we've seen, Jokic historically win the MVP more seasons as well. So it's not like since then that hasn't necessarily been true either. So, it's just like Lamar literally won the MVP last year. He has 2 MVPs. We know sort of the bigger history of the NFL MVP and who has the 3 MVPs. Like, it's literally what? Brady, Manning, and Favre and Rodgers? And maybe, like, I don't know, Staubach, maybe? I don't know who else. Is there a running back that has, like, 3 MVPs or something? But it's like, has Lamar even achieved enough in the playoffs to earn a 3rd MVP? Like, Russillo was calling Lamar Harden for the playoff failures, and I get that that's a a comp you want to make for a guy that is super high achieving in the regular season, and then maybe some of the playoff success doesn't align with the expectations. But Harden has won 1 MVP, right? And Lamar Jackson's about to win his 3rd. They're about to give him a 3rd MVP. Like, James Harden couldn't win MVPs anymore because of the playoff stuff. Like, it actually, I guess for the NBA, it literally does affect. Like, as much as we don't want to admit it, the previous seasons and all that stuff do affect the MVP. And guess what? I kind of think it should have 2%. I'm not saying it should be a big piece of the pie chart, because obviously it's a season MVP. It should be for that season. But in tiebreaker scenarios, it should be totally okay to look into history and go, what would be maybe a better historical move? And yeah, you could look at it this season and go, maybe this is, we have to guess, is it going to be Lamar's season or Josh Allen's season going to the playoffs? Like, this easily could have been Lamar's season going to the playoffs. And again, if Mark Andrews doesn't literally just drop the friggin' football in the end zone, then Lamar is in the conference championship game against Mahomes, and maybe Lamar's, they just wet the bed against Mahomes, and then it's the whole Lamar conversation again. And, it's like we need Lamar to win a Super Bowl. We don't just need him to get to a conference championship game and play Mahomes. We need him to win against Josh Allen. We need to win against Mahomes. We need to win a Super Bowl. Like, it's a lot to ask for, but we're also asking, we want to see, it's because we are fans of Lamar and we want to see him ascend into these all-time great stats. That's another thing with these players as well, too. It's like, we're rooting for, it's like we're saying that you have the ability to be an all-time great player, and we're wanting you to achieve this, We're not saying that this is not because we're rooting for Patrick Mahomes every year. Like, you can go online. Like, yeah, I'm telling you that I would like to see a three-peat historically, but also I would love to see, like, I'm down to see Lamar win a title. Like, the NFL community would love to see Lamar win a title, and they would love to see Josh Allen win a title, and they'd love to see these guys finally break through and be on the biggest stage. And what does that look like? And the big performances, and have, these legacy moments from these star players. We're giving Lamar the benefit of the doubt as a guy that is capable of doing that, and as a guy that should be performing in these moments. That's why we're holding him to these expectations. And that's why we are saying that, because I can just see, like, the people being like, well, that's not fair that you have to say, like, oh, you have to, because I think even Russillo was saying, like, is that the worst thing in the world that Lamar doesn't lose? It's like now he's losing in the playoffs to, at least he's losing to Mahomes and Allen, like the best guys. But it's like, yeah, Lamar is supposed to be beating these best guys. Pause. Like, he's the MVP of the league. He's supposed to be the top dog of the league. Like, Lamar is such a talented quarterback and can play at such a high level that he should be in the playoffs, the top guy, and he should be the guy in big moments making plays, and he should be the guy winning these playoff games. And again, blame Mark Andrews for this one, but there have been moments, and there were moments in the game. There's just been enough Lamar moments where regardless of how that individual play turned out and how that game impacts the Lamar legacy, the greater Lamar legacy still stays the same after this game, which is unfortunate. And it's unfortunate because of the talent that he has and because of the things that the football community wants to see him to achieve. You know, we're rooting for Lamar Jackson's success. We want to see him again hosting an MVP trophy. And I don't even know, the Ravens are not even like a franchise like the Lions, where it's like if they were having success, it's like good for the Ravens. You know, they finally need it. Like, you know, they've won a couple of Super Bowls recently. They're a newer franchise as well too. Like, they're kind of fine. I don't, you know, I don't know if they have like an annoying. They're not like the Philly fan base either. You know, it's not like they're a villain of the NFL. There's the Ravens are kind of a neutral, like greater NFL team, but like people are rooting for Lamar. Like people want to see Lamar have that success. Now Notre Dame's going for a fake punt. They pull the Mark Andrews on the fake punt and just drop the potential first down. So there goes that. I guess they could have made it 14-28. You know, now we start looking at could they potentially cover. Honestly, the move should have just been to hedge our bets and just done like a major alt spread on Ohio State and just. But then the problem is, you know, you're just any sort of interest in Ohio State we just could not invest in, even though that would have been the smart way to make money. But no, not worth it, chat. Not worth it. But again, like Harden has won one MVP in his career. Like Lamar Jackson is objectively more accomplished than James Harden. Harden's won a lot of it. Harden's been on how many first-team All-NBAs? He's been on 7 All-NBAs in general. And he's been on first team 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those times on first team. So it's like, you know, peak Harden for a half a decade was one of the 5 best players in the league. And even he was not the most valuable player in the league 3 times. Lamar Jackson, with Mahomes in the league, with literally potentially the greatest quarterback in the league, Lamar Jackson is now 3 times going to be awarded the MVP of the league. And I'm not sitting here saying that that's outrageous. I'm just saying that in a situation where Josh Allen had the season that he had and was as impactful as he was on Buffalo, has Lamar done enough throughout his career to earn a third? I think that's totally fair. I think, yes, as much as it needs to be an individual season award, when it starts to enter an historic thing like that, it needs to be looked at. You know? Records are meant to be broken, chat, but I don't know if records are meant to be like frivolously broken. Like, if you're going to go into the history books, you're going to have to go into the history books. Like, it's the same thing I was going with the Saquon Barkley rushing record. If Saquon Barkley was breaking that rushing record in 16 games, that'd be awesome. You know, I don't know if I'm just like totally set on a guy needs to rush for 16 games. You know, if Saquon Barkley's team was way worse, maybe his offensive line was way worse and he was just absolutely carrying, like I guess that Peterson team, like if Adrian Peterson in that Packers game had ended up short of the rushing record, but it was right now in this year where he had the 17th game to potentially break it next season, like the next game, then yeah, you know what? It would have been great to see Adrian Peterson have done it in the 16 games, but that would have been a guy where it's like he has the 17th game and he was so impactful in carrying that Vikings team into the playoffs that should not have been I mean, Christian Ponder as the quarterback. I mean, the most successful the best thing he did was pull Samantha Ponder. Like, you know, what was his career as a quarterback? Like, shout out, the man was obviously more accomplished than we are, but you know, Peterson was able to get that team to achieve so much more than it should have, that it's like, yeah, that should be one of the historic running back seasons in the history books. And again, Saquon, it's like great running back season, put it on the list. I think it's very fitting where it's at, but I don't know if it should go up as the best running back season ever of all time, as the number 1 rushing season, most rush yards that a guy's ever had. And if the NFL, I don't know, I'm not saying the NFL needs to step in and be like, Saquon can't play the 17th game, but it's like, I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did, you know? Like, if you need to look to the history books to go, hey, does Lamar, like, can we, and, you know, you can't always do that with the guy as well, too. Like, he'll just get an MVP another year. We'll vote Lamar another MVP. Like, if a guy he earns it, he had a phenomenal season. If they announce the MVP on, I think the NFL honors are on the February 2nd, maybe. That, or maybe it's during the week as well too, before the Super Bowl, not the Sunday before the Super Bowl, like the Thursday or the Friday before the Super Bowl. Are we gonna be doing an NFL honors watch along, chat? Do a little, I don't know, who knows? Who knows? Just got a couple of ideas. We'll see what happens. But anyways, I gotta start thinking about the ideas for the NFL honors show. But if they announce it's Lamar, totally fine. He's totally earned it. Lamar is as talented a quarterback as any of those 3 MVP quarterbacks, and on a talent level is completely deserving of those 3 MVPs. But again, it's just like Josh Allen. Can we get Josh Allen one, man? I guess I'm a socialist. I'm a socialist award giver. I don't know how all of my politics align, but at least for giving out, and again, it's not participation trophies. We're talking about, I'm not giving this award to, Anthony Richardson this year. I'm just saying we're talking about the 2 best seasons of the quarterbacks amongst the field this year. And I think you could make a case that on individual season alone, Josh Allen can win the MVP. And if it's so close that you need some random sort of variable tiebreaker, I guess Lamar also had the head-to-head matchup as well too, which is directly in this year and maybe even a stronger tiebreaker as well. I can even admit that. I'm willing to hear that case. 31-7 now as Ohio State gets the field goal. Halfway through the third, come on, can we just sim till the next score, next timeout? Sim till. Who's my player in this game? Can we just be like some guy that just is not going to get a lot of minutes and just sim till the end of the game? Yikes, chat. Oh, man. I mean, this is literally going to just throw off the entire... I don't even know if I can think straight anymore. It's like a car crash, too. I can't even look away. It's like tragic. It's, trauma porn. It's just... it's just Ohio State winning the title. It's like, I don't want to watch, but for some reason I'm locked in. It's just a terrible thing, Chad. It's, you hate to see it, but the motto of today's show is you hate to see it. But that's the hook for the show. The chorus is just, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. But again, with Lamar as well too, you hate to see it. Especially for this season, I don't know if it's better if it goes down to Lamar making a mistake, but at least it's more final and more conclusive for the Lamar piece of it, where now it is this big thing of, what happens for this season now? Mark Andrews it's one of the worst drops. It's just objectively one of the worst drops. It's fumbled. It's stumbling backwards. He's falling down. I don't even know what the name for it is, chat, but it needs a nickname for how bad the draw. It's tough. And he's a great tight end as well too. He might be the best tight end in the history. Well, I guess, Shannon Sharp played for I guess, the franchise stats. Here, let's take a look actually. When is Mark Andrews going to get his jersey retired for Baltimore? Not anymore. That's literally what we're talking about with this drop. I'm not even joking. If this was the Spurs, if Dallas Clark dropped the pass, the man's still a legend. He still gets he still gets all the respect in the world from the Colts fan base. But it's definitely a tough moment to think about in the course of the Dallas Clark career for sure. I'm just, shout out to Dallas Clark as well too. We're just, unfortunately has to be used as the example because he's our favorite team, and we'll just use our own guys for examples. But their all-time leader in receiving yards in general is Derek Mason at 5,000 yards. Mark Andrews is still not at 5,000 receiving yards. I thought he at least had 1,000-yard receiving season in there. So who knows? He may not get there again. Oh, he is the Oh man, chat. He is the all-time leader in receptions. The all-time franchise leader in catches, and not one of them was as important as the one he should have made at that moment. I mean, maybe that's not necessarily true. He's had some clutch moments in there and some big catches and some stuff, but I mean, not one of them could compare to that moment there. That's tough. Dennis Pitta. I mean, this is a good tight end franchise. Todd Heap. Todd Heap is listed on here a couple of times. Oh, is this individual seasons? Or is this career? This might be seasons. Oh, single seasons? Okay, we saved him, chat. I should have just looked at the number and just been like, yeah, that's obviously not a high enough number. I was not paying attention. But he's got to be close in these all-time numbers. He's third all-time in receptions and second all-time in yards, so he may not have a chance to be the franchise leader. And again, maybe that works out. Do we want Mark Andrews as the all-time leader in some of these franchise stats after one of the biggest goofs in franchise history? I mean, that is on the level of one of those sports blunders. And, you go back to like what's that Broncos-Browns moment where the guy fumbles? Is that Ernest Biner, chat? Shout out. That's how or is that baseball? That's how you know it's bad. I literally know the guy's name and he messed up and I don't even know like who he played for. But I just know this guy messed up in a sports moment somehow. But I just don't know the specific details. Oh, and his Wikipedia page is literally just going to be dedicated to this fumble. Okay. There is no subsection on his page that's just like the fumble, so that's good. But what did he do for his playing career? Drafted by the Browns, 10th round pick. Back when the draft was really stretching it out, chat. Pause. 280th overall. Played for Cleveland, played for Washington, played for Baltimore. He finished his NFL career ranked 16th on NFL's all-time rushing list, 8,000 yards, 56 touchdowns, 12,000 total yards, and over 75 touchdowns as well. 72, sorry. Oh, here we go. Here are the total numbers. 13,000 career total yards and 72 career total touchdowns. One of the better running backs to play when he retired. Was on the list of 80 greatest all-time Commanders. That's not what they say. That's not how the list is titled, but that's how it'd be titled if they released it today. Oh, it says here, too, on his Wikipedia page, a productive and reliable running back who could rush, catch, and block. Paired with power runner Kevin Mack. Let me see. Yeah, in the championship game, he was instrumental in the Browns' comeback from a 21-3 deficit to place the Browns in position to win the game with the score tied at 31 minutes through the fourth quarter. The Broncos scored a go-ahead touchdown to make the score 38-31 with 6 minutes to play. In the ensuing Cleveland drive, the Browns worked the ball down the field to reach the Denver 8-yard line with little over a minute left in the game. On the next play, Biner took the handoff from Kozar to run off the left tackle. Biner powered past the Broncos line and looked sure to score the game-winning touchdown when Bronco defensive back Jeremiah Castile managed to strip him of the ball. Like, that's the thing. Jeremiah Castile, I didn't even know that there was a guy that, like, caused the fumble. Like, you don't even know this guy's name. You just know that Ernest Biner fumbled. The play is now simply known as the fumble. Oh, the fumble has its own Wikipedia page. Yeah. Oh, man. The fumble. So is this the drop? Let's see. Does the drop have its own Wikipedia page? It just says the term referred to by the drop. A couple of movies. 2022 film by Sarah Adina Smith. A 2014 film that's so obscure they don't even have the director listed. A 1997 album by Brian Eno. Who's Brian Eno? An ambient instrumental soundscapist? The 2014 reissue included 77 million paintings. Oh, that's good. I was really hoping that would get released at some point. So I guess, shout out Brian Eno. But so maybe this Mark Andrews, I mean, it's that bad of a drop. It could literally just be simply known as the drop. Again, maybe divisional round, the stakes are a little bit too low. But again, a lot of people were saying this divisional round was the championship game. So we'll see if that actually is the case. I mean, we'll still have to actually play the championship game and the Chiefs could easily win it. It could be like that Chiefs-Bills game where ultimately that drop doesn't determine who. I mean, it could have determined who won the Super Bowl because, the Ravens, I guess, could have beaten the Chiefs better than the Bills. And it is one of those weird matchups where who knows who you like better in that game. The problem is, I think, again, as Chiefs fans, Sam was saying he was as confident in his team as anybody. And again, I think you look at that game and go, does it matter from a Chiefs fan perspective? We're playing Lamar, we're playing Josh Allen like we have Mahomes. Either way, we have the best guy in that matchup. So I don't really know if it matters from, a Chiefs fan standpoint and a matchup standpoint. They're going to try to slow the game down and, do their thing regardless. But yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, the Josh Allen playoff stuff is going to be more important for the legacy anyways, of course. And if he's able to win the Super Bowl, you're going to trade that. If Josh Allen gets 2 rings this year, he's going to trade that he wouldn't trade that for an MVP trophy. Make no mistake. You're taking the Haley Steinfeld engagement in the Super Bowl over. I mean, that alone is worth 3 MVPs, chat. Would Lamar make that trade? Yikes, chat. I think Lamar would let Josh Allen and his ladies, well, who knows, chat. We're all, no, we don't let him be a happily married couple. I mean, I should just sit here quiet anyways because Notre Dame is winning, so we might as well do that after that comment, but pause. But yeah, either way, Josh Allen's going to take advancing in the playoffs. He's not going to care about winning an MVP or anything like that. His eyes are set on a Super Bowl, and he's Josh Allen. He looks at it and goes, he has a chance to win an MVP. And his narratives as well, too, he knows that, he's on deck for an MVP season as soon as. But, I guess, I don't know. Why does, I don't want to ask, why does Lamar get the benefit of the doubt that the other guys don't? Because we know, Lamar is as dynamic an offensive player and does as much for that Ravens offense as any player in NFL history. Great play by a Notre Dame receiver. I don't know who this is, chat. Greathouse? Wow. Shout out Greathouse. Jaden Greathouse. So at least Notre Dame hit the double-digit marks, 31-14. Some excitement. Herb Street, a pep in his step again. Ohio State winning the game, but at least he's got some exciting plays now to talk about for Notre Dame. I mean, it's just the best outcome for him. Oh, man, 3 minutes to go, chat. There's still 18 minutes of football left to play. Notre Dame's going for 2. Maybe this is the start. I mean, Ohio State, please collapse. Please fall apart. The option, the shuffle. Okay, we get the Kansas City shuffle. I think that's just what we'll call it now. The Andy Reid shuffle. Yeah, I think we call it the Reid shuffle. I don't know if we can call it the AR shuffle, not in this climate, but the Andy Reid shuffle. The little pitch to the running back, the tight end in the middle of the line. So 15-31. It literally is still, I guess, 16 points. Man, it is what it is. But at least, yeah, they get it to 2 scores there. So the slimmest glimmer of hope for Ohio State. They literally, I don't know, they need a pick 6 here or something. They're still in they need a miracle territory. Can we get a win percentage update? This would be a good time. They cut it to two scores on the 2-point conversion. 3 minutes left in the third. Ohio State at 96.9%. Oh, the good old days when Notre Dame was up 7-0. Yikes. So maybe this will be the historic moment where it plummets, chat, but just in case, we'll check out. Just in case it happens, we'll say we were on top of it. Win percentage doesn't mean anything, but who knows? Probably does today. Unfortunately, today it's probably dead on. But either way, chat, yeah, unfortunate for the Ravens fans that it just happens to be a drop. Because, I mean, again, the play call, it worked. He was open. I think sometimes the play where it's maybe there's just the one option there is not always the best play in that scenario. But again, he was there. And It's literally just make the catch and just fall down. Sit down. You're sitting. The catch is just, you just get it and just, I mean, literally all he had to do was just continue the roll that he was doing. And he's right over the pylon and into the end zone for a score. And again, for a great player as well, too. I mean, it's like the same thing with Lamar throwing the picks, you know? For a great player to have plays that are that costly, it's tough to see. But who knows? Maybe there's some fun domino effects from this. Mark Andrews, maybe he's on the market. Isaiah Likely now, if Mark Andrews leaves, like he becomes finally like a legit full-on tight end 1 fantasy option, at least preseason wise and in drafts. You know, he'll be super hyped up and super over draft. Like Mark Andrews will be taken in fantasy drafts next year because nobody wants him. So that's our advice right now, is take Mark Andrews. He will be traded. He'll be a tight end 1 somewhere, and he'll be getting a lot of volume, and he will be producing a lot because he's not going to drop every pass. He'll catch some of the ones in the regular season that don't matter. And they'll matter for your fantasy team, which is what you want anyways. So I guess the parlays as well, too, that he crushed. The Mark Andrews anytime 2-point conversion legs that were in there, I don't know. But when I was talking to my neighbor the other day, he was saying for the Broncos after their playoff loss that he was really wanting a tight end, and one of the guys that he was eyeing for tight end was Kittle, which obviously, you know, I mean, why take Mark Andrews when you can have George Kittle? But you know, who might be more readily available, chat? Which team might be more willing to part with their guy? Because the Niners financially might have to do something, and maybe just, you know, they might have to make a move at the roster somewhere. Maybe it's Kittle for a player that they need, a pick, you know, who knows? But maybe Mark Andrews is a guy that they can get. Do we do a quick Mark Andrews contract check? Is he going to hit free agency? He may just be due for some money in general. Let's see here. Mark Andrews, kind of a basic name. There could be several Mark Andrews. Probably a couple golfers, I imagine. Do they have any of the lacrosse players? Oh, no, there we go. Straight to Mark. Shout out Mark Andrews, man. The Mark Andrews. So he has 1 year left on his deal. Oh, man. So he is actually kind of super tradable. $5 million in dead cap. I mean, he's also super cuttable. Oh, no. Mark Andrews is gone. Mark Andrews will not. Shout out to Derek Mason. He will still be the franchise leader in all of the receiving stats because Mark Andrews will not have a chance to pass him. He will not be in a Ravens uniform next year. And I mean, that was kind of, I mean, even at the 15, even at 27 and $30 million in dead cap. How much is the dead cap worth that drop? I mean, it is worth the Super Bowl. So however much the Super Bowl is worth in dead cap is what you're going to have to sacrifice Mark Andrews for that play. But at $5 million now, it's like, a team can take a flyer on him. That's a great 1 year flyer. Again, for a team like Denver that has a lot of cap space but doesn't even necessarily need cap flexibility in this situation, like, this is great. And I guess if you're a team that could trade for him, you look at this and go, of course, the Ravens could just cut him and we could just sign him. But then if you're a team, you get that guarantee of, you know, bringing him in as well too. So, you know, who knows how that works out. The Ravens always make a good move and always hopefully value, you know, they're a good organization. So I'm assuming whatever the max value is, they'll get it. If the max value for Mark Andrews is cut him, then that's what will happen. But again, like, you still have to go, this guy is, maybe he's not obviously the best tight end in the league. Maybe he's not a top 3 tight end in the league anymore. He's still above average tight end, hopefully. Still going to at least give you good minutes when he's out there on the field for the most part. Maybe you just don't sub him in a 2-point conversion when you absolutely need a play, apparently. Maybe if it's the Broncos, it's like, that's still Greg Dortch in that, or not Dortch, who's their tight end? Dulcich? Greg Dulcich? Cortland Sutton still in that play. That's just a Cortland Sutton play instead of a Mark Andrews play. But Mark Andrews is the guy to go to in that situation because you think of their other receivers like Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, you know. Who else do they have? Tylan Wallace, you know. Not that Mark Andrews is just supposedly better than all those guys, but I mean, in terms of the physicality of a receiver, if he was one-on-one with the defender there and he has to sort of post up, Like you necessarily, and not that Zay Flowers was in that game, but you wouldn't want one of your other receivers, skinnier receivers, smaller receivers, may not be able to win that one-on-one battle. So that's kind of your guy that you can go to in that matchup as well too. It's like, well, why don't they go to somebody else? I guess Likely, you probably could have gone to Likely there, yeah. But I mean, it's Mark Andrews, You're not expecting him to just have. I want to call it like, for some reason, him falling down. Like I want to like call it like a name similar to like the butt fumble, like the butt drop or something. But butt drop's a little crazy, and again, it's not like some guy or like he dropped it off his butt, or like some guy's butt went in there and just like broke up the pass. He just fell on his butt at the end. Like that's it. But of course, the butt fumble is just maybe the funniest title still the best title for any mistake highlight play in NFL history. But the Mark Andrews one definitely more impactful. So Ryan Day now pacing the sideline, very happy, not knowing that he's brought a national title to Ohio State. I mean, that is definitely very exciting. But this year, it's not just the excitement of that. It's the excitement that he gets to keep his job. Like a lot of national title coaches, maybe they just get to, again, enjoy that win. That is what they're enjoying. The success of building the program and finally achieving the thing that they built. But for Ryan Day, it's like, no, actually, phew, I won the national championship. I can keep my job. The Ohio State fans will finally like me again. And again, I think, if they had lost to Oregon, the number one team in the nation, after winning a must-win game against, like, Tennessee's a team they have to beat. They won that game very decisively. And Oregon, if they're just the best team in the nation and they're undefeated and they get the win over Ohio State, I don't think they're firing Ryan Day. I mean, you literally see it right now. And I mean, the 12-team playoff is the perfect example for why you shouldn't be as drastic with these coaching moves, because again, at the end of the day, you have to look and go, we lost. Again, if they lose to one of those better teams, you go, that is how our season ends. Yes, the season was hampered by the Michigan thing. Maybe there's a bye range situation where we don't have to play Oregon sooner. Maybe their matchups are favorable. Like, I get all that stuff. Like, it makes total sense. But just in general, you would go, the end of the season would be by the hand of a better team and a team that maybe on paper we should have lost to. Not the season wouldn't have ended by the Michigan thing. And just even if it was a 14 playoff, I don't think you're going to find a better coach than Ryan Day. I know, as a Michigan fan, I know him losing it to us 4 years in a row. Like, maybe I'm a little biased in saying that, but it's undeniable the success that he's had, not even just this season with them literally a quarter away from hoisting a trophy, but just the in general dominance that they've had outside of the biggest rivalry game, again, in all of sports, where there should be chaos in that. The fact that Michigan was so down for all those years, and the fact that we weren't able to pull an upset is crazy. It does speak to the Ohio State dominance, of course, and they've had great, Will Howard's having a great playoff run. They've had some great regular season quarterbacks there and some guys that have been really hard to topple in these games. But, again, like Alabama, Auburn, Auburn has maybe the craziest play in college football history running that field goal back. At least maybe the craziest call, just one of the most emotional moments. Like, those things are supposed to happen in those rivalry games. And, yeah, it's potentially super costly and super emotionally deflating and super, it really can destroy what you've potentially worked for all the season. But again, that's these rivalries. That's these moments. That's the greatness of college football, is that those things can happen. And it's happened to Michigan. Michigan lost to Appalachian State. Michigan's lost to all kinds of smaller schools and had their fair share of moments where we've been on the short end of the stick. I just don't know if moving on from Ryan Day because of this one particular series of games that they're struggling in would have been the right move. And now that's obviously not going to be the case. They're going to win the national title. Everything's all peachy keen in Ohio State. They've got, recruits and the NIL thing, and they're going to be set up just fine going forward in the Big Ten. There's nothing to worry about whatsoever. And now it's like, do we enter Ryan Day's conversation, his name in the conversation as the best coach in college football? Like, that's the thing. He was closer to being the best coach in college football to me than he was anything else. Like, you're going to fire that guy? And maybe that's something as well, too, that I should have maybe thought of more in the moment with Harbaugh in some of those moments where because I mean, definitely in the early years, especially as a younger guy, you know, you're like, come on, Harbaugh, what are we doing? Like, I need success and I need it right now. Like, you were promised national titles. And, you know, now, of course, if we bring in, like, I mean, with Sharon Moore, like, yeah, Sharon Moore gets a year or two for sure to try to build this thing and see what we have. Like, I mean, Anthony Richardson, you know, I obviously on the last thing I was saying that maybe next season I'd be okay if they cut it short if it wasn't working out. But, you know, last season's like, yeah, let's give the man some time. We need to see what we have. Like, I'm not just for replacing everything, like, as soon as things start to go wrong. Like, I need to know that things are actually, and, you know, obviously those are life philosophies that can lead to success and lead to failures and all kinds of different things. But, you know, I guess in certain moves, like, I need to see history. I guess I think flexibility is, I like to think it's a key component of the tool bag. And there are moments where you go, okay, I feel like this is a moment where I could use my discretion to say you need some history here to make this decision versus, yeah, this one maybe needs to be made now and with some decisiveness. But moving on from a coach and a regime is like, we need some real evidence that this is working. Again, outside, if it's just the Michigan thing and you go, yeah, this is unfortunate, this is a bummer, this is a game that we have to be winning, but there's clear evidence outside of that this is an elite program in college football. This is one of the most talented programs in college football. This is a program that, and this, I can't believe I'm saying this, just disgusting that I'm talking about this Ohio State. But again, we're just objectively talking about the storylines that are happening around this game. It's the only thing we can do at a time like this, you know? It's just what's on a Monday night. But, you know, NFL talent. They're producing a ton of NFL talent. They're recruiting all this stuff. Like, Ohio State is a premier program. And Ohio State is always, you know, of course, a premier program. They would expect that with or without Ryan Day. But Ryan Day is a reason why they are a premier program. And there's just no reason to make a hasty move because of that. And I'm sure they could find a guy. They could pay the money. They have the ability to. They're a premier spot. They can get almost any guy from any school that they want. There's a handful of schools that are a better job than, like, there's like, what would you say is just objectively a better job than the Ohio State job? Like the Alabama job at its peak, and maybe, you know, there's not much else. Like, yeah, I could say the Michigan job from an historic standpoint, like Michigan, like I would say Michigan, of course, is a better school. Like, it is what it is, but but as a football job, I don't know if it's a objectively better football job. I would like to think it is. I would like to think it could be, but I don't know if that's the history of it. You know, Texas, Notre Dame, like, those are great schools. If Marcus Freeman, like, maybe he's just a loyal guy and maybe Notre Dame's a place he wants to be at, but that's just a real move he'd have to think about making. And the resources that Ohio State has, the ability, I mean, just their ability due to some stuff to be able to maybe get some talent is, even in, like, they maybe even have like some academic stuff compared to some of these other schools where you go, okay, NIL's a big advantage, but some other schools even have some other things that going for them that may be additional factors compared to other schools. Is this going to be backup time? Will Howard's still in. I guess it's still a 2-score game, so get this drive. A drive and a stop, and then maybe we get the backups on that next stop. Do we want to see, who is it? Is it Julian Sayin? I was seeing he might be the starter next year for Ohio State. Even though they do have, of course, like a young 5-star guy coming in. You never know what he could do. Ibuka fumbles. They do rule it a fumble. I didn't know if they were going to rule him down or if they were going to, how they were going to rule it. But if they're going to rule it a turnover, probably go for the review, of course. But again, a 2-score game. If they get their 2-point conversions, if they don't get the Mark Andrews happening to them, if they're actually able to find the end zone twice in a possession. Oh, if it's a fumble, chat. It's a fumble. That's a clean punch out by the Notre Dame defender. Life for the Fighting Irish. Whoa! Just a glimmer of hope in the fourth quarter is all we need. Just a ray of light. All we need is just a sign to know that something is possible, chat. Maybe Notre Dame could possibly pull off a miracle, chat. Who knows? But yeah, we don't need this Mark Andrews contract anymore. This is going to be a quick review. There's no way. This is easy. This is a fumble. It's clear. Great call by the ref. Unbelievable. Yeah, the headset's off. They know right away. Will Howard and Ibuka are down. Can Riley Leonard capitalize on the opportunity? Ohio State, they got a little look in their eyes. They got a look of, okay. I mean, you're going to get the ball back up one score, worst case scenario. So you're still going to have some cushion and a potential to go back up two. But now it's like, okay, what's going on? And Notre Dame has to go the length of the field. They turn it over at their Notre Dame 21, so Notre Dame's at their own 21. It's old school touchback range. The end around is just sniffed out by Caleb Downs right away. Great tackle by Downs in the open field. Off the blocker. Second and long. Immediate sort of, reminder that, yeah, Ohio State has been the better team all night. But I would still, you still got to respect what Kirby Smart has done at Georgia in multiple national titles. I mean, especially with Saban out as well, too. Like, who are the multi-time national title winners we have? It's literally got to be Dabo and Kirby Smart. It just has to be those two guys, right? I can't think of anybody else. And, Ryan Day is now going to be a national title winner. Harbaugh was a national title winner, but he is now in the NFL. And Belichick is a champion, but he is, again, a champion from the NFL. So I don't know if we can consider him a winner in college when he's literally never coached a college game before, even though it is Belichick. But Dabo, Kirby Smart, Harbaugh, Saban, I guess Jimbo Fisher? Does Jimbo even have a job right now? Oh, Notre Dame down the field on 3rd and 9, chat. The drive stays alive. Did Jimbo go to the FCC with Cade McNamara? Let's see. Is an American who most recently served for Texas A&M up until... So, Jimbo's a free agent as of right now? The last thing was fired November 2023. And living on the $77.5 million. Jimbo Fisher does not need to be coaching college football. He got the bag on that buyout. That is for sure. But active college coaches, Urban Meyer, Saban, LSU, that 2007 LSU team would have been Saban. Texas, this would have been what? Mac Brown, who is now, yeah, he's out. Again, Belichick in for Mac Brown. Pause. Pete Carroll, USC, he's gone. So who would have been 2003 LSU? Oh, Notre Dame on the screen is going to go behind the sticks on first down. Saban again in 03. Oh, wait, so 07 would have been, who was that guy, chat? What's that guy's name? Les Miles. That's right, that would have been Les Miles. Who, is he still coaching actively? Or is he on TV? Les Miles might be on TV. Let's see. Most recently served at Kansas. Yeah, so he's... Oh, controversies? What? Yikes. Maybe we don't need to put Les Miles on blast for his troubled past. Ooh. There's a bar. Drake used that in one of your songs. Oh, yeah. It seems like Les Miles is probably gone for good in major college football. So he is out. So once we get back into this range, we're probably not going to find anybody active. So, yeah, the only two active multi-time national champion, I guess the only two active champions, what we were saying, is Kirby Smart and Dabo Swinney, which is crazy. So Ryan Day is going to be only the third active national champion head coach. So, yeah, I think he then becomes at least the number third head coach just in terms of standing. And then, I mean, is it recency bias to put him over Dabo? But just in terms of the regular season success, like Ryan Day has had more regular season success as well too since he has taken over. In what year officially did Ryan Day take over? So Clemson won their national title in 16 and 18. So they've won what, one national title? So Day, took over in 18, that first year. And Clemson won the national title. So I guess since Day has taken over, they have made two. This would be their second championship made to Clemson's one, and their national title win to match Clemson's win as well now too. And then again, comparing the regular season's record, Ohio State has been much more dominant. They've has he won the conference? I guess they probably won it in 19, right? Big Ten champs in 19, so he's won the conference as well too over that stretch. So, I mean, you could argue he is the second best head coach in college football after tonight, which is exactly why you don't fire him. Which, again, like, if he doesn't win it, he's obviously not number two. We're not putting him over Dabo at this point with Dabo winning the two. I mean, you could even still make that case for as of like who would you want right now. Like, I'm not saying that, and maybe it's a mix of the all-time and the who would you want as of right now. But again, like, he's obviously maybe not able to move as far up as you'd want. But again, he's still right in that mix, and he's closer to that mix than, he does need a Les Miles controversy to take him out at this point. You can't fire him for losing one regular season game, even if it's a one that you should definitely win and one that you really, really want to win emotionally and is definitely a big deal in terms of the standing of the school. It doesn't matter. Ryan Day is too important. You can't just frivolously start making decisions, Chad. Defensive holding is going to keep the drive alive. So Notre Dame's moving down the field, Chad, in scoring range with 10 and a half to go. Can the run game move the ball in the shortened field? This is where they're going to need it to really pull through. Oh, we're first and goal now. Okay. Penalty yardage for Ohio State starting to become a little bit of an issue. Not too much more than Notre Dame. I mean, obviously, if it's both bad, then that doesn't make it good for Ohio State. But at least it's a little neutralized at this point. The run game swallowed up Riley Leonard right away. No, oh, and he's limping, chat. Pause. You hate it to see. You never want a limp quarterback. Whoa. Yikes. I mean, there's just... We're going to watch Notre Dame have an historic comeback on Ohio State. Are we so fortunate? There's no way we're this lucky. See, look at Ohio State makes one good play, and the yawns immediately start kicking back in. Riley Leonard on the overthrow. I can't tell. Are the yawns gonna? I can't tell if that's a pre-good play or post-good play sort of ordeal. But it's attached to Ohio State's success, and I wish I knew how to control my superstition for this game. Really, the fact that I don't know how to control this superstition is probably what's led to this massive deficit so far. My apologies to the Fighting Irish and the larger Notre Dame community for not being able to dial in how to effectively use the yawns for the greater good of the game. I try my best to be as connected a fan as possible when I'm rooting against a team like Ohio State. 3rd and goal. The pass is incomplete. They have to go for a touchdown on 4th and goal. I mean, if we thought the game wasn't over at any point, this is the game, chat. This is the definite moment where Ohio State could win the national championship. It's 4th and goal, so it's like this is the other plays, it's like there's the hope of the next play. Maybe the next play, Notre Dame will score. This is the play. Oh, they're taking the field goal? What are we doing here? Oh, and he missed it off the upright from 27 yards. Oh, my goodness. What is that, chat? Marcus Freeman. Does he not know the score? Is he not looking at the scoreboard? Does he not know he needs 2 touchdowns and 2 extra point conversions to win a national title? Oh, why is Ryan Day cheering, Chad? No! No! What good does a field goal do you there? You're going to go for the onside kick anyways, right? Like, if you're going to kick a field goal in that spot, you're kicking a field goal. Look at, we're going McAfee mode now because we're standing. If you're going to kick a field goal in that spot, it's because, oh, Chad, is the camera off? I didn't realize the camera was off. Shout out. The Marcus Freeman field goal's got us in standing mode. It's bad right now. If you're going to kick a field goal in that spot, it's because you're going for an onside kick. And if you're going for an onside kick, what are you're going to score a touchdown anyways? Like, what is the thought process? I get it's a tough spot to be in. You're down 16. It's a long shot that you even get the extra point and that you stop Ohio State and that you're able to make this. I get all this stuff, but we got to make the smart moves to try to make it even a possibility. So to cut it from 16 to 13, literally still 2 touchdowns. It literally does you 0 good to attempt a field goal there. So I know it's upset. The play call is maybe, it's not the worst play call of all time. I get, it's is it a Tomlin level play call? Tomlin level conservativeness, it might be what it is, but I don't know if that's going to turn into a political statement or not. But regardless, it's frustration with the play call. It's frustration with how it turned out. It's frustration with the fact that Ohio State is winning. It's just frustration with the fact that it's not Michigan. It's a lot of things, chat. I get it. A Karen is usually upset about more than one thing, but I'm just an Ohio State Karen tonight, chat. It's just what it is. I'm going to be complaining. I'm going to be griping. I'm going to be ramming my shopping cart into the side of Ryan Day's car in the parking lot because I do not want to see Ohio State winning the national title. I'm going to be calling the manager on Ryan Day. See, now I do want Ryan Day to get fired. I thought maybe if I defended him and kept him around, he would keep losing to Michigan every year and keep this Ohio State short-ended, but it totally backfired, and it turns out, nope, Ryan Day is actually worth keeping around, and they've totally made the right moves. This is not it, Chad. This is not what sports are about. Sports are supposed to be a celebration. Sports are supposed to be full of joy and happiness, and there's supposed to be moments that bring us together as a nation. I mean, who's rooting for Ohio State to win the national title right now? This is not a unifying moment. We need to be together. We need to be on the same page. We don't know what's going to happen in 2025. We don't know what the country is going to go through. We don't know what is we just don't know what's on the table. I mean, it's just disasters all the way around all year, Chad. And just put Ohio State's national title right on the list. Will Howard, a national title winning quarterback. I mean, people are like giving credit for Will Howard's play this year, and people were not crediting McCarthy. I get the stats are different, but is Will Howard a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy? In chat, you're like, yes. But McCarthy was the 11th overall pick. Is Will Howard going to be the 11th overall pick, Is Will Howard going to be capable of replacing Sam Darnold in the Vikings offense? Maybe a couple of college quarterbacks could. Honestly, Will Howard, Sam Darnold replacement, Vikings? Oh, man. See, now we have to start looking up Will Howard draft stock. Now we have to start seeing what's happening with the tight ends. Now we have to look again at Jack Sawyer. Now we just have to look at the guys and go, oh, yeah, this is the best team. We have to go do our Mike Mayock and just say the Colts should only draft Jack Sawyer and Will Howard. Let's see. Actually, we should go to the big board. And Ohio State, I think, just is the most stacked school in general if we look at this top 100 ranking. So you're not going to be surprised. Oh, maybe Georgia. Georgia's pretty stacked. Of course. LSU. Shout out. Michigan. Always holding their own. The defense. Gotta love it. Shout out defensive line. Centerpiece of the team, the 2 tackles. Colson Loveland. Speaking of great tight ends. So Will Howard is just not on the draft board, not on the top 100 board this year. Caleb Downs for next year, Jeremiah Smith for 2 years from now, of course. But I don't know, chat. If we're looking at the later round guys, because I think it just goes straight to later round guys this year. I don't think it necessarily, I mean, you know, Ewers and whoever ends up there there'll be a second or third round pick or whatever. But I guess, you know, the Kenny Pickett year, we had the 1 first rounder and then nobody till the middle of the 3rd round. And even that was like a little rich, it turns out. But whoever is next off the board after we go, whoever goes 1 and 2, whichever order Cam Ward and Shador Sanders go in. I guess, you know, 1 and 2 for quarterbacks. Maybe it ends up actually being like 1 and 3, 2 and 5, 2 and 3. You know, who knows the actual pick number. But yeah, Will Howard here. Let's check the recent performances. He is, I guess, going to need to declare as well, too. I don't know. Is he just automatic eligibility? Is he just a senior citizen of the college sports? I mean, he is a senior citizen, but by that meaning, is he just out of eligibility? So almost 300 yards in each of the last couple of games. A pick there against Tennessee, a pick against Texas. So been able to be turnover free tonight. And the Notre Dame defense forces a punt. So they're even going to get the ball back with 6.5 minutes left. Okay, that is the worst play call. See, we'll give Marcus Freeman the benefit of the doubt in the moment. We'll even do our best to try to control ourselves. But that's crazy, chat. That's asking to lose. Kicking a field goal down 16 in the 4th quarter of the national championship game. Do you have no faith in your team? That's why he missed that. He's like, oh, he has no faith in us to win this game. We're kicking field goals. I probably won't even make this field. He probably doesn't even think I'm going to make this field goal. Clank. Shanks it. There we go, chat. Okay. Last 3 games. 916 for yards. 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. We literally could have just done this math in the time that took to load, but 81-35 for his career. Let's go back and look just at this season. Was he putting up those Josh Allen level numbers? Is he Josh Allen or is he Daniel Jones? He might be Daniel Jones, but if you took Daniel Jones later in the draft, maybe you're actually more psyched about that. Maybe that's actually kind of a good deal. 3,700 yards this year, 33 touchdowns, 10 picks. Playing on his double senior season. So, Judkins, 10 yards a carry, even more so. 9 for 96 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, if there's a... I just like how guys can just constantly get comped as well, too, to the guys that seem to be in the draft a couple years after him. Like, it seems like you can get stuck in draft cycles, like, again, comping guys to just this, like, 2 and 3 years kind of around each other, but it just works out that way. Like, Judkins is kind of give you Jahmyr Gibbs vibes. And again, I don't know if it's the recency bias of just watching Gibbs and just looking for a player to project those traits onto because he's actively one of the best running backs ever watching. But I don't know. To me, there's a lot of similar factors. They have a similar sort of look when they run. I haven't done like a height and weight comparison on either of those guys. Make no mistake. We only Google so much about these athletes. But I feel like we're looking at similar build as well, too. Again, just a similar visual aesthetic watching it. So, probably not going to be a top 12 pick, but I imagine whichever team drafts Will Howard and Judkins is going to be having a good time. It's going to be one of those, oh, yeah, maybe they should have drafted a couple of national title players Maybe that might be a good team to draft from if you're an NFL team. Which, again, is the Mayock theory. Which I think we'll officially call it the Mayock theory now. Just when in doubt, draft guys from a good team. But I honestly, like Lassiter for the Texans, who was really good this year, he was a guy like that for me, where that cornerback class winners that were taken before him. Uh-oh, we're disconnecting, chat. We should be back. Okay, we're good to go. Yeah, that's right. Mitchell was the first one, and so we had that Mitchell-DeJean combo for the Eagles. That's right. Arnold this year as well, a rookie. Wiggins, Richardson, Pritchard, Hart start going deeper into the draft. Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yeah, see, that was a close call for me, like between like guys like McKinstry, Arnold, and DeJean. And we saw DeJean, of course, be really good this year. Same with Mitchell. And Arnold's really good too. Like all these guys have a chance to have to be good. But like I guess I saw Lassiter farther down on some lists. Like I was seeing like him under like Rakestraw and a bunch of mocks, and just a bunch of these guys were consensusly kind of over Lassiter. But it's like this guy was holding up at Georgia on this defense that was like, it's not like, yes, the defensive front was obviously awesome, and because they can get to the quarterback in the way that they can, like, you know, that's like the frontline defense. So when it's so successful, like they're going to get all the credit because that's the first line of attack. But, you know, the secondary was holding up as well too. So that is Lassiter. And we saw him be awesome on the Texans. So I'm not against the when in doubt necessarily draft from the better college team. It's not a bad theory, but again, you got to take the right guys, and maybe don't draft all from those teams. There's probably somebody on another team that's better, but it's like the history thing. It's not a bad tiebreaker. It's like this team was doing something right, and if he was on it, you know, throw a dart at the dartboard. Just maybe take Dexter Lawrence instead of Cleveland Farrell if you're Mike Mayock. You know, if you're just going to go, I don't care, I'll take anybody at number 4, then just take Dexter Lawrence, because he's the guy that actually turned out to be the All-Pro. I mean, I'm sure that Mike Mayock, looking back, would tell you he would if he knew that, but there's also that tackle versus edge argument. Maybe Mike Mayock is just so stuck in his philosophies that he's like, I got to get an edge. I need a pass rusher. It's like, well, Dexter Lawrence is still a pass rusher. It's just, it's from a different spot on the field. Oh, injured Ohio State player. I mean, we don't want anything to happen like this in this game. We don't want guys hurt, obviously, but we don't want the clock stopping. I guess Notre Dame has the ball and they're driving, so we got to give them a shot. But there's 4:40 left. Like, are they going to score twice? I guess, are they going to have 2 scoring drives is what I should say. Because I guess they're going to try to score and go onside kick, which would be kind of a mini drive. But assuming Marcus Freeman just continues his conservative ways, does he just forego the onside kick and decide to play the field position and try to, you know, see if they can get a 3 and out and whatever, and defense get a stop? Like, they don't have time to drive down the field and get a. I don't even know if they have time to do 2 drives at this point. It's like they got to start going at the end zone now. Their offense is too slow, chat. They're methodical. And I want to try to make a smoothie before I go to bed. So we're going to need some big plays. We're going to need some nobody going out of bounds. Make no mistake, chat. The trophy. I hope ESPN cuts right away. This will be the one event. Like, it seems like on all the events that are the good events, they just cut to Sports Center like right afterwards. They're like, okay, that's over. Thanks for watching. Next, here's Scott Van Pelt. But after this, of course, national title, college national title, Ohio State winning, 12-team playoff. This is going to be first season. They're going to be like, the trophy ceremony extravaganza. 60 minutes of commercial-free trophy ceremony celebration for Buckeyes fans. It's like, what? Just put that on ESPN Plus, man. That's just a channel for 14 people to stream. Who's tuning into that? Now I actually want to go back to SVP. Shout out SVP. We love SVP. We appreciate SVP's sportscaster talents. We don't want to throw him off with any kind of overly emotional statements about our thoughts about it. It's just, good at Sports Center. Good job, sir. Shout out. We appreciate having you on the TV screens. The Applebee's commercials, the $9.99 big meal deal. Are we gonna be hitting up a big meal deal this next weekend, chat? Okay, shout out to Champ Quinn. He's gonna be getting a little text message. Apple playoff game, Applebee's ? We'll see what happens. But right now there is a budget wars going on right now, chat, in the fast food industry. I know it's an expensive time right now for everything, but at least the fast food places are trying to present some menu options, which is good because it did feel like for a while there, like when the economy was good, make no mistake, the fast food was like, we're going to take advantage of the good economy and raise the prices a little bit. If I remember correct, I guess I don't remember the exact timeline of the economy compared to the McDonald's timeline, but and again, like over COVID as well too, like that was a good time for people like me. That unemployment was actually, some more money in the bank. But back in times when maybe the dollar wasn't as thin, like McDonald's, it felt like they were going away from some of the value menu stuff. But now, for a while, they had like just a little fast food corner here while Ohio State puts this game away. Oh, Notre Dame, we're back in it, baby! I just said we for Notre Dame. I gotta burn my. Can I say Catholic prayers as a Michigan fan to try to cleanse myself from Notre Dame? Like, I don't know how this works. Can I do Notre Dame things like pause? That's crazy, chat. That's crazy. You know what we mean. We're talking about just the penances. That's it. But yeah, I can't. Jesus, chat. So now they have to go for 2. I guess was he trying to give himself a buffer for the 2-point conversions with that field goal? Maybe, I don't know. It's just and the fact that they missed it's so funny, chat. Like as much as we hate Ohio State, like it's not my team that I want to win the game, so I am for a bad play call not working out. Like I still football karma. I'm still down for that. Yeah, Ohio State would be nice to see them lose. Oh, Ohio State's going to blow this trick play up right away. Back in the end zone. Yeah, there we go, chat. There we go. And by we, I mean the chat, not Notre Dame. 4:15, down 8. Imagine if they had gone for the touchdown. This is not Buffalo. This is not the same situation as last night. But at least some drama has ensued. At least Notre Dame is back in the game. So now he's going to go for the onside kick and be aggressive when maybe he should see if his team gets a stop. But, either way, they haven't stopped Notre Dame outside of, like, the 2 possessions. And let's be honest, Notre Dame, there is still, like, a decent percentage that they just close this next drive out, especially with the run game. But Greathouse again, making plays. So another college football watch party, another receiver standing out. Who was the guy for Georgia Tech? Something all, maybe? We'll have to go back into that Georgia Tech roster come draft time. And I think that guy is actually a 2026 draftee now that I remember. I remember looking him up. Maybe that's why his name didn't stick in the profile. It's like 2026. That's all we need to remember. Georgia Tech 2026. We'll be back next season when he's locked in. But for Greenhouse, I guess let's give Greenhouse a Goog real quick and see what his potential eligibility Eminemity. Why do I always go college basketball, chat? I'm just I guess there was a pretty crazy women's college basketball day today on Fox Sports. There was UCLA was playing Baylor. There was like a 1 versus 25. There was like a 6 versus 8. There was wait, who were we just looking up? I just got distracted by talking about women's college basketball. Had me thinking back to the Angel Reese days, chat. Oh, well. But yeah, then Juju Watkins, I think, was playing as well. Oh, we were looking up the Notre Dame receiver. That's what it was. Okay, I knew we would remember it. Oh, young guy. Sophomore, potentially. Yeah, we got a sophomore, 5 receiving touchdowns, led Independence, I guess, all of last year. Only 2 this season. So you can tell with his size on that deep shot pause that he is a good red zone threat. And they definitely took advantage of that a lot last year. I guess with Riley Leonard's legs, of course, maybe that and the run game took away from some of those receiving touchdowns. But the yardages were up, and his impact in this game has been absolutely massive. He's definitely been the best receiver on the field. I mean, been the best receiver on the field maybe in general. 5 for 111 and 2 touchdowns. I don't even know if that's a hot take, chat. I think it's just the numbers don't lie. I think Jaden Greenhouse is having the best receiving game so far. Oh, shout out McAfee on the sideline. Here we go. 2nd and 7. Will Howard bounces to the outside. Picks up the first down, and it looked like he was going out of bounds if they didn't make the tackle. So might have just let him go out of bounds at that point and stop the clock. But, you know, you'll get the pause anyways on the first down. But great job bouncing outside and using his legs. So, yeah, he's honestly, I guess we were calling Riley Leonard Daniel Jones, not Will Howard. Will Howard, is this Bo Nix vibes? What do we think, chat? Again, to compare somebody from just immediately a draft class that just happened. But I think that could be fair. Did we get a little height-weight combo for Bo Nix to Will Howard? But I could see it. And again, Bo Nix, you got it 12th in the draft. You had to take him because he was a Heisman Trophy winner. First-round price tag. Will Howard lost to Michigan. You might be able to pick him in like the 4th round. If Sean Payton had Will Howard, would he have won 9-10 games this year? You know? Will Howard after a full offseason, I guess. You know, we got to be fair to Bo Nix. And Will Howard. But Notre Dame still has 3 timeouts. So, it's this. I thought maybe that was the killer first down. Turns out this is the killer first down right here. And honestly, 3:05, 3:04, timeouts are like the next plays. Those got to start being used if there's a stop here. And it looks like hopefully they're setting up a pass. Maybe that means a potential incompletion. Nope, they're too smart. Quarterback keeper, cut down right away. Timeout. Do I not know situational football? Okay. Marcus Freeman, gonna let the defense go. Oh, no, apparently he's just gonna let 9 seconds run off the clock. I see. You gotta know when you want those timeouts, chat. I don't know if I would have kicked like I said, I don't know what I would have done in the Bills game last night. I think I would have taken the field goal. But I do know I would have taken a timeout right after that play. Bop, bop. And Freeman re-energized. You love to see it. Unfortunately, you know, it's just been it's not been the type of game where we could just cut to the sideline and just get a good Marcus Freeman, you know, couple of seconds. But now we're getting some points, some motivation, some play calling. We get to see the great coach in action. 132 yards this quarter for Notre Dame. Hasn't felt like a team that's like charging back, but I mean, they're still in it. They're still hanging around, and they did reset the clock back to 2:49. So all in all, great job, Marcus Freeman, getting that timeout right away. Nike versus Under Armour. Good versus evil. Catholics versus pagans. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. 2:49 left. Chat. A lot on the line. Joy versus despair. Will Howard again. So it's literally, they're not risking the fumble exchange on a handoff. They're not risking any kind of screen, pick six shenanigans, any kind of random Will Howard makes a mistake over the middle of the field and turns the ball over. It's QB draws. Ohio State is stacking the box and not respecting it, pause, and not respecting anything deep. And they're making stops. The last 2 plays have not been effective. So getting the timeouts and having a chance to get a 3rd down stop and take a timeout as well too. So yeah, on a 3rd and 11, This is the, do you pass it here and risk stopping the clock on your own? With as conservative as they've been, I mean, now all of a sudden they're going to throw the ball. Maybe something underneath. Oh, the Ohio State fans are in agony. You love to see it. They're tense. They're on the edge of their seat. I mean, I guess I'm literally off the edge of my seat. I'm standing up. Oh, if Benjamin Morrison was out there. Imagine the confidence we'd have in this Notre Dame defense. Will Howard gets the snap. He fires the pass. Jeremiah Smith is wide open down the field. Not only is it a first down, it sets him up in scoring position. 2:30 left. Jeremiah Smith just exploding past the defensive back. The defensive back gives him too much room. Jeremiah Smith takes the angle to his advantage, and I don't know if you can necessarily get up there and bump and run with him either, but it's just too talented of a receiver. Will Howard's been making plays all day, and LeBron, not with Savannah, but high-fiving in the booth. Oh, geez, Ryan Day. I've never seen Ryan Day this happy, and I gotta be honest, I hope I never see it again. It's disgusting to see. It's not really something that should be on TV, kids. If there's kids watching this, you should put your kids to bed. If you're a parent subjecting your kids to watching Ohio State winning the national title, I think we're accepting of most people here in the Rem and Sam pod, but if your kids are up right now watching this game, I got to be honest, you might have to unsubscribe. I don't know what you guys are doing as parents where you can let your kids. I mean, Ohio State, you cannot. This needs to be. I feel like I'm an open guy. I feel like I'm a guy that is not for censorship. I'm not for free speech. I feel like we should have all these things, but this needs to be somehow wiped from the history books. Ohio State winning this national title. We need to potentially find a way to make sure to remove this from history. Oh, what's up, Sam? Shout out, people. Sam is in the chat. Jeremiah Smith is that guy. What are we doing? Too much aura from Jeremiah Smith. Sam, get out of the chat if you're going to be talking about Jeremiah Smith like that. You know where you're at. You know who this is, brother. What are we doing? Jeremiah Smith is that guy? What about name a Michigan receiver? He's like, who was a receiver from Michigan? The tight end, Colson Loveland. What about aura from Colson Loveland? No shout outs to Ohio State whatsoever. You hate to see it. This is a disaster. Oh, shout out to the Fighting Irish. Okay. My chat wasn't fully loaded there. Sorry, Sam. Yeah, no. Are you talking about the Drake freestyle, or are you talking about the team? Because I honestly don't know which one I'm more disappointed in right now. I don't know which one I wish I could redo. Because the thing about the song, it's like, it's if we redo the song, it's not like we can redo the content of the song. If we redo the game, we can redo the outcome of the game. We could change that. We could if Fighting Irish freestyle was actually about the Fighting Irish winning against Ohio State in the national championship game. I mean, that would be the best case scenario. That would honestly be the best of both worlds. Drake dropping a freestyle. I want to be like Notre Dame, entered in the Hall of Fame, taking down Ryan Day. There you go, chat. See, I'm not like a freestyler. I guess I'm more of like a written rapper. Need to work it out. I need a lot of red ink on the pages. A lot of X's and O's on the notes. Yeah, Ryan Day is going to keep his job. So I guess that is true. But we don't want to be the team necessarily motivating Ohio State to win the national title every year. Obviously we want to be winning the game, but we want to be winning the game to set ourselves up for success. Because again, I guess that is really the only thing that you can take away from this game. And I guess
there is also the version of the Michigan season this year. And obviously, it could be for Ohio State in the future where Michigan's having the successful season and Ohio State sucks. And then, that'd be terrible if they upset us the way we did them this year. But maybe it happens. You never know. But the thing about, like, maybe there is a situation where the teams are like 10th and 12th in the nation, and then maybe a loss then at that point can affect the playoff rating. But then that's just a different version of the team, And then, to be honest, like if a team like Ohio State, because they're 9th in the playoff ranking right now, but they were actually like 4th in the AP poll and all the college football stuff and whatever. And like, remember, Oregon was the Big Ten champion, so they're the number 1 team overall. So Ohio State could have been the number 2 team in the nation, and they would have been bumped way down the rankings because of, they would have at least been bumped down to 5 because of the other national, the 3 other conference champions below them or above them in the college playoff rankings. And yeah, they did get bumped down a couple other spots below like Penn State and stuff because they lost to Michigan. But if a team like Michigan or Ohio State is in that 10 or 11 range, then an upset is just going to be even a little bit more likely as well too. Like that's just a different level of team than the 3 and the 4 team and the powerhouse team that the team and we're seeing it right now. The powerhouse team that they are, the consistent team that they were week to week, and the expectations that they had, even going into a game that was supposed to be as simple as a Michigan team. Did they just score again? Fortunately, Sam was distracted. I wasn't watching the game for 2 seconds. But, if they're an Alabama equipped, like Alabama this year is a perfect example. Like if Alabama had lost the Iron Bowl and that was the game that cost them the playoffs, like for this year's Alabama team, that would not have been totally surprising for where their status was at in the college. Like they're a little bit more susceptible to that type of performance. Like it's just the way that level of an upset can impact the national title thing can just not happen. So yeah, I guess we're going to need Ryan Day to keep Ryan Day around just to be able to prop Michigan's own self up, We can only help ourselves with wins, but we get our wins against Ryan Day, so we need to keep Ryan Day around. And at the end of the day, controlling your own destiny is not a bad thing. You're going to have to win the games regardless of how, what the bigger picture is and what they're impacting. At the end of the day, the team that wins is that, that's what you want to be. Oh, chat. 75 seconds. And then it's all over. 3rd and goal. Is there... What do we... They have to run a play. So, and they have to run like an actual play, right? They can't just... they're not going to just take a knee and kick... they're just going to take a knee and kick a field goal, right? We're not going to get any type of crazy fumble. We're not going to get any type of Will Howard interception. Jeremiah Smith, for some reason, off the hands, into the hands of the defender. Pick 6 goes the distance. An all-time highlight in college football history. We did get the 8 overtime game. So we have had history before on the Rem and Sam show. This is why you tune in for moments right here. You never know what's going to happen on this play. Notre Dame you never know. Hail Mary, Mother Jesus, somebody answer, please. Notre Dame, step up. This can't actually be happening. And our Instagram algorithm has been recently, we've been getting a lot of, I don't know why, chat, but, well, I guess, we're good religious kids. I guess it's just like, for the stuff that we've been viewing on Instagram, we've been getting a lot of like holy place locations. Like this is the tomb where Jesus was at. This is like the place where Last Supper, like the real Last Supper location. I guess we've just been clicking on those pictures for some reason, but you gotta see. I didn't realize that they had like a footprint where Jesus ascended. Jesus' footprint is over there in the Holy Land, chat. Who knew? It's a little bit sketchy. I was looking at some of that stuff as well, and I thought I clicked the link, and it was like, you got to go pay some money to go see the birthplace, go see the manger. It's like, okay. I get maybe there's some upkeep that maybe needs to
I guess I don't know with the rules in place what kind of upkeep is going on, but you gonna charge me $10 to see the footprint of Jesus Christ? Like, what are we doing here? Like, Jesus Christ! Like, come on, what are we doing? This is bigger than money, you know. This is Jesus. I'm a feet man, you know. It's Jesus' feet. Like, it makes me, it's a little like, and no, it doesn't make it, the faith is bigger than a tourist attraction. Obviously, type of stuff is not, it just if somebody's scamming you over there, it's not necessary. That would not necessarily be too surprising, and it's not like gonna wreck you or anything. But it's like, okay, maybe is that actually the spot? If they're charging you $10 to go see it, who knows? But wait, not the graphic about the block kicks. Wait, what are we talking about? Chat, what are we talking about? Oh, is the ESPN ahead? The ESPN is ahead of the live stream. It usually is, so I'm not paying attention if you're spoiling it. Oh man, if they blocked this, if that Hail Mary went up there, I didn't have my rosary on, so I guess I don't know how it all works. We're not of the Catholic sect, chat. Oh no, it went in. Chat, what are you getting us excited for? You start talking about blocked kicks? You can't start doing that with 30 seconds left. Feel a little good? Jeez. 10 points. Yeah, you know what field goal also really swerved, chat? The one that Notre Dame tried that they shouldn't have earlier in the fourth quarter. Marcus Freeman. Ridiculous, but I guess ultimately it doesn't matter. Ohio State up 11. Chad, am I the only one just like that stomach is starting to just feel a little weird? I don't think I ate anything funny. I don't know what it could be. Oh, wait, I know what it is. It's a freaking national championship game that's happening right now. It's Ohio State about to win this thing. Oh, Chad. I can't tell. Is this going to be a good gym day tomorrow or a bad gym day? Am I going to be motivated like I'm on the team? Like, we got to get back. We got to win the national title. Or am I going to just be bummed out? We'll see what happens. It's back day, so I guess we'll see if we get a PR in those lat pull downs. But unfortunately, I think, me and Sam, we might have used up all our eligibility at this point. I know Sam used up all his playing Ultimate Frisbee, so unfortunately, even if he trains, he can't get back in. But since I didn't actually, well, I guess, in the Ultimate Frisbee, I don't know how that lines up in the D1 stuff as well, too. So maybe he technically could have a little bit of eligibility left. But I, having never actually played D1 sports or any level of college sports outside of, pickup intramural type stuff, I haven't used up any of my eligible years yet. So I guess if we did get in the gym, and I guess the problem is we'd also have to get back in the textbooks, maybe. Maybe not. You never know. If we hit the gym hard enough, pause, we'd have to really hit an elite level where we could skip the textbooks. Like, are we able? I'm just not that good of an athlete, Chad, unfortunately. Obviously, because I'm, if we were, we would be playing. But just it's like we invest the time in the gym, in the books, and try to be the athlete, or do we just invest double time in the gym and try to be the athlete too good where we don't have to study? They'll let us pass the classes for us. 2nd and 12. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, I can't. No, that's it, Chad. That's it. Oh, disgusting, chat. Gross. You hate to see it.
back to the chorus of the episode. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Sorry about that, chat. I can't even watch. The last thing I saw was 2 seconds, so I'll never know. Did Ohio State actually win the national championship? I'll never actually know. I never saw it happen. I saw them play a game. There was a game that happened, and then I'm pretty sure the last thing I remember was Ohio State was up on the scoreboard. But I don't know. I didn't see the last two. So did the game actually go final? Did the drones actually finally strike? Now would be the time, chat. 34-23. Ohio State takes the win. Their first national championship in over a decade. And the rivalry gets even more. I mean, this is literally the most heated the rivalry's ever been. I know after the game this year, the talk was, well, it's flipped back. Michigan's dominating. Ryan Day, he can't do anything. He can't get past this Michigan team. I mean, Harbaugh's gone and Sharon Moore's left, and Ryan Day can't even beat that. And it doesn't matter, chat. Whatever talks there are about the rivalry, it's back on. The rivalry, this is the most intense rivalry ever. I mean, have Michigan and Ohio State ever won national titles in back-to-back seasons? This has to be the first time this has ever happened. Because make no mistake, I mean, you know, Michigan might be the one holding us down on that recently. But going back in the day, you know, who won that night? Because what, Michigan didn't win in 1904 or 1905 is the one year that they broke their stretch back in the day. Oh, so 1903. They tied with Princeton in 1903, and then, yeah, Pennsylvania in 1904. So no Ohio State. Notre Dame, Michigan back-to-back. Pause. Michigan, Minnesota. Michigan, Notre Dame again in the 40s. And then I think we jumped just straight to 98. Yeah, Michigan, Tennessee was the one that won in 98. And that was the year after Manning left as well, too. Which is one of the reasons that Tennessee season is a little under the radar. But another funny just Manning legacy thing that happened as well, too. So, yeah, I mean, come on. I know Michigan has dominated the rivalry now, but now Ohio State's back on the map with the national championship win. And now it's like we're a little national championship series going on now. Like, I know Ohio State is technically going to be the reigning champions, blah, 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 whatever. But, I mean, you know, we got the number one quarterback recruit. We got an NIL backing stronger than just about any other school out there. So our program is in a position, pause, to be right back. Like, it will be Michigan and Ohio State at the top next year. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Michigan will be back. Bryce Underwood will be terrifying. Bryce Underwood will haunt the dreams of Ohio State fans for years to come. They thought that these 4 years were tough, chat. They thought that this class had it unfortunate because they couldn't beat Michigan. And I know they're not going to care about that now because they just won the national title. So, unfortunately, it was all worth it for them. But they thought that the rivalry was tough now. Wait till they get a load of this NIL roster. Wait till they get a taste of Bryce Underwood at quarterback. At J.J. McCarthy to Bryce Underwood? I mean, come on, Chad. This is crazy. Shout out to Marcus Freeman, though. Of course, getting Notre Dame to this state. And like Sam said in the chat, shout out to Notre Dame for hanging around and competing in this fourth quarter. Because like we said, that last time that they were in the national championship game, you know, it was good that they were there, but we knew going into that game they were not on par with the Alabama team. And that was a special Bama team. Like, there's not a lot of college teams that, like, it would have taken another, like, 2019 LSU would have been a game. Like, who knows who would have won that game. Maybe that 2019 LSU team is just too overpowering. But, you know, that's the kind of level that we were talking about against that last Notre Dame. So to have Marcus Freeman be in the national championship game, but for Notre Dame to, I think, walk away feeling respectable. Obviously,
Ohio State dominated a lot and, was winning pretty good a lot of the way. But you feel like you can hang your hat on a really good performance. And like we said at the beginning of the game, Ohio State was the most talented team, and you weren't going to play this game and play better than them and outplay them and walk away and be the better team. So you were going to win a game like this. You were going to win a game where you have some possessions in the fourth quarter. Ohio State kind of gets cold on offense, and then just somehow it's like, wait a second, Notre Dame's driving with a chance to tie if they get the 2-point conversion. Like, that's how it was going to be. So the fact they were in that spot at the end of the game, I think, Notre Dame, awesome season. And, we'll see again as well going forward how they're able to maintain that quarterback position. Because, he's got him built for this year, but does Marcus Freeman have this school on lockdown as a program now? Because, with Ryan Day now solidifying himself as the top of the college football podium, like we're saying, there's only 3 now active head coaches with college football championships. It's Kirby Smart, it's Dabo Swinney, and it's Ryan Day. At least for the major guys, like we said, we were looking up earlier that we could think about. Sam, if you're still in the chat and you could think of anybody, let me know. Who's coaching Kansas right now? Is it one of the Stoops or something? Or that might be Kentucky. I'm not sure. But, it's still the rest of the college football hierarchy sorting itself out is still taking place. And we're still seeing who is the next names up for the great coaches on the scene. And again, even if Day had a bad playoffs, Day still goes into the next college football season as one of the best coaches in college football. He goes in as a top 5, top 7. It doesn't matter. Now he's, number 2, number 1, whatever, He's number 2 on this episode, but if you want to call him the best, it is, you go ahead and do that. But that rest of the list after him and after Dabo, but even Dabo the last couple of years is going to need a really good regular season to regain some real confidence in him as a top guy. But, Marcus Freeman versus Dan Lanning, because I guess Dan Lanning would have been a guy that was like, oh, is he kind of charging ahead as the lead guy? Oregon's undefeated. He has gone, toe-to-toe with Deion in kind of a personality way as well, too. Like, that was the thing about those Oregon-Colorado games. It's like, yeah, Oregon was way better of a team. It proved that, Colorado just wasn't quite ready to hang with the real teams in college football at that point. Like, maybe they were being thought of even after a couple of nice wins. But Dan Lanning, the week of, it just felt like he was handling everything right. And it just felt like as a character, he was going toe-to-toe with Deion in that way. And it was like, are we getting another guy as a college football head coach here emerging? So it's like now Marcus Freeman, who, of course, was sniffing around those, like, tiers as a guy, is now, fully in that mix as, he will be on watch for the next generation of college football head coaches. I guess, do we throw Sharon Moore in that mix as well, too? Taking down Ryan Day at Michigan, getting the number 1 overall quarterback recruit, having a potential nice-looking team for next season. How quickly do we get 2026 odds? Can we see? Can we be the first ones to immediately just look forward to next season? Oh, so they already had odds out. They had odds out 2 weeks ago for 2026. I guess, you got to be on top of it, chat. Pause. You got to make sure to be getting the value as soon as possible. And to be honest, like, I know, the farther out you bet, the riskier it is. But, of course, the flip side of that coin is the better value you're going to get if you nail and if you think you can find something in a good range. Okay, so Michigan is in the top 25 next year. Let's go. I know Ohio State just they're automatically going to be contenders, and it's like, Michigan, are we in the mix? But again, it's young talent. It's like the quarterback's coming in, the defense has got a lot of pieces leaving, and a lot of guys that are going to step up. So it's a team that'll build over the course of the season, not a team that necessarily has the same preseason type hype as Ohio State. But regardless, chat, I think we have to call it there. We have to end it off, unfortunately, with Ohio State winning the national championship. But shout out, for the most part, just an interesting day, just a day of events, chat.
But we got through it, and hopefully we can, get a good snack tonight, chat. Good smoothie. Maybe we go heavy on the desserts tonight, chat. Maybe it's a dessert night, a cheat night, because we may need it, chat. We're gonna need to console ourselves. I don't know what this might even be, like a real, like we just go to one of the old school movies type night. You know what? It may be a Rush Hour night. We may have to watch Rush Hour. I think it's still on Netflix, and as one of the movies that's just like a top, like, there's movies that are top for your rotation. Rush Hour is a top rotation movie, but it's just like, it's such a great movie. It's almost like a save it for a special occasion. It's almost like a fine wine, You can't just start throwing Rush Hour around at every dinner party, but of course, maybe on a night like this, it's worth it. But regardless, chat, I know most weeks, of course, we've been going live on Tuesday nights, but since we were live tonight, we'll be live. We'll still be live Friday, of course, but we'll be live Wednesday instead of tomorrow night. So just one day off there, and then we'll be back Wednesday, and then we'll be back Friday. Of course, business as usual. Sunday after that, we still got some playoff football on Sunday, so we'll be back on Sunday, the Rem and Sam Zone, as usual. But you can follow us here, of course, on YouTube, on the social medias, on the podcast platforms. This one will actually be going up as a podcast. We forgot to record the last episode, so we'll see if we can work. I mean, if IT can't even work magic to record the episode, I don't know if they can work magic to get the episode somehow and then upload it onto Spotify. But if there is, if there's any leftover magic that wasn't used on Notre Dame tonight, obviously, because they lost, maybe they'll use it on IT to get the Sunday edition of the Rem and Sam Zone up on the Spotify and the podcast platforms. But otherwise, we'll be out of here, and we will be back later this week.